John Axel. Welcome. Folks, welcome to the News Underground. We were watching gang footage from the 1990s and listening to the Super Mario World orchestrated soundtrack. Welcome. I am Abandoned Nihilism, aka The Harbinger, the realest motherfucker on Twitch. Bar none without a doubt. Here to hold it down. Big props to your boy, John Axel. Thank you, John Axel. Number one in the chat. That was Welcome to Mario World. Today we're going to be covering Attack. We're going to be doing our new segment, Attack from the Left, our disorienting segment where I'm on the left side, and it's I haven't even finished it, and it's kind of shitty. But that's I'm going to do it anyway. I don't care. Think I care? Look at that. Look how low effort this is. This sucks. This took me 5 seconds. Yuck. It's for a stupid pun. It's so stupid. We're going to be doing... Yeah, shut up. Who cares? We're going to be doing Attack from the Left. Then, of course, we're going to be covering everyone's favorite topic, fascistic assholes, a.k.a. the right wing. Their right-wing update. Sieg Heil and all that, you know. /S. Oh, I wasn't sure. You better watch out. I'll report you. And then, if I have time, we'll jump into the horror of Gaza, of which I have so much news. Hard to keep a track. So much disgusting news. I can't even look at it, man. Can't even look at it. Joe Biden sending more weapons on top of the $4 billion, I think, on top of the $4 billion that we just gave them. New weapons package approved. Thermobaric bombs, I think, maybe. And, of course, there's strikes happening in Rafah. By the way, way back when, like a week ago, I made a big boo-boo. And correction time here. Correction time. I said the Al-Shifa hospital was in the middle of Gaza. I had that mistaken for a different hospital. The Al-Shifa hospital is the one in Rafah, which is the final refuge of the Gazan Palestinians. Jelly-sided Joe ruining the world. Yeah. Lee Spanner. I was about to shit on the Republicans reflexively because, you know, I thought you were a right-wing sycophant for a second. Then I saw the name and I was like, oh. Lee also hates fascists. It's really hard to criticize the left and not be seen as a righty. All right, let's do it. I guess we'll just vibe to this. This is pretty vibeable. We'll do our Attack from the Left segment with Super Mario World orchestrated music, whatever. I don't care. This isn't a professional operation. Joe Biden is far from the left. He's not even close to left. And you got like, you know, MSNBC or so progressive. What are you smoking? And it's like, well, they're smoking that corporate pipe. That's what they're smoking, that good shit. You know, that motherfucking, you know, Bloomberg pack. All right, folks, let's get to it. Attack from the Left. Big focus over here. MSNBC shill for new Fox look. At least schizo posting over here. Let me fix my webcam real quick and drive me bananas if I see that. So look, if we're going to be attacking the left, we got to talk about the fart in the room, Merrick Garland. And, you know, just right in time, just a little too late. Okay, there we go. Can we please? Give me so much material. That's what I do, Lee. But no, so this fart in the wind over here, this useless piece of crap, you know, the media, you know, too late, too little, too late, starting to point out, hey, can we do something, please? Can we actually go after criminals that are, you know, like, they're not, you know, Donald Trump and his cadre are not only embracing January 6th and the seditious activities of Donald Trump, right? They're and, you know, promising that they're going to do it again. And I swear to God, man, if we have a fascist dictatorship, you know, this is going to be one of the reasons why. And you have to look right at Joe Biden, who put this guy in charge. Apparently, it was like a right-wing concession. Just like with Robert Mueller, another right-winger. So we got a couple things on Merrick Garland. Let's jump into it. Attorney General Merrick Garland has been criticized for the pace of the Department of Justice investigation into Donald Trump's effort to overturn his election loss. Get this text nice and beefy for you here. And a new deep dive report shows he was often frustrated himself with its pace. This is insane to me. Are they really, oh gosh, oh shucks, I wish I could do more? Like, really? Really? Garland gathered his closest aides after he was sworn into office in March 2021 to discuss the possibility that evidence from the January 6th investigation could point to a criminal activity by the former president and his inner circle. But at this time, it was, quote-unquote, simply inconceivable that Trump would recover politically, so the Attorney General proceeded with extreme caution. Really? Really? He thought it was all just going to go away, and then he wouldn't have to do his job? This is the man that Joe Biden put in charge of this? John Axel, I don't know. That seems like one of those novelty questions that really doesn't get us anywhere in terms of actual progress. You know, there's that study that Fox News makes you stupider, right? Makes you less informed. But I don't know about that. I don't know about the utility of that question. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to lower this down just, there we go. You might have to adjust your volume. I just lowered my microphone volume by half a notch. Go ahead and crank up your volume a notch if it's too low for you. And if the music's too loud, go ahead and let me know. So, yeah. So apparently Scuttlebutt is, according to this article, this guy who wrote this. Fucking wrote this, dude. Travis Geddes, senior editor of Raw Story. Okay. So apparently he was just hoping Trump would just go away. He was just hoping his entire career would just, oh, it's over now. So we don't have to do our job. Just curious. Yeah, well. Quote unquote, prosecutors and the FBI spent months sticking to their traditional playbook. The newspaper reported they started with smaller players and worked upward, despite the transparent, well-documented steps taken by Mr. Trump himself in public and behind the scenes to retain power after voters rejected his bid for another term. Looking back, Reed Strader from Kick. Quote, I'm trying to avoid even the smallest mistakes Mr. Garland might have made one. Okay. Quote, in trying to avoid even the smallest mistakes, Mr. Garland might have made one big one, not recognizing that he could end up racing the clock, the report added. Really? For real? For real, dog? Smartest guys in the room Didn't see this coming? Trump outplayed you? For real? That's the... Garland told his investigators that he would place no restrictions on their work, even if, quote-unquote, the evidence leads to Trump. But his directive to, quote-unquote, follow the money led nowhere, since most of the rioters paid for their own travel and lodging to set to Washington, D.C. for the insurrection. Yeah, this isn't the 1960s. This wasn't some communist coup, it's some communist, organized, funded by the Cuban government. There's a source to follow the money back to the source. Trump wasn't paying for any of this. My God. But there proved to be so many of these Trump supporters at the insurrection that identifying, investigating, prosecuting soaked up precious time and resources. So they started at the bottom, and that's all that they've been spending all their time on hillbillies and fucking used car dealership managers, right? The fucking, the little, middle class right wing tyrants that spent their own money to get to January 6th. You know what I'm talking about. They own a business or two, think they're hot shit, worth $500,000 or something. You know what I mean? The ones that show up to those $10,000 or $5,000 a plate fundraisers. You know the types. And Garland and his powerful deputy Lisa Monaco grew so frustrated with the pace of the January 6th case that they created a special team to investigate John Eastman, Boris Teen, Rudolph Giuliani, and Roger Stone Jr., and the quote-unquote war room they set up at the Willard Hotel ahead of the Capitol attack. So interesting. So the special counsel was them going, oh shit. Not only is the Trump political career, not over, it's, resurgent. We haven't been doing our job. We've been wasting all of our time going after hillbillies. Oh shit. Some of the biggest criminals are not only getting away with it, but they're lining themselves up for the next administration. Some of the people that planned it and executed this. So that's what the whole special counsel was about. Interesting. Investigators obtained search warrants over the next few months for phones belonging to Eastman and former Justice Department official Jeffrey Clark. Now, we just saw Eastman debarred. So we're just now seeing some of the fruits of these actions, I guess, as well as Trump. Well, that's a totally different body, though. That's not even that's the Bar Association. That's as well as Trump advisor Epstein and the campaign strategist Mike Roman as they looked into the fake electors plot. And just to remind you, the fake electors plot was literally, a state producing results, and then these goofballs saying, "Oh no, it's actually this." This was the result. Literally throwing away millions of people's votes. Because, well, my buddies voted Trump. Welcome back, Woke Patriot, and welcome back, An OK Life, new user, An OK Life elite. Trying to be optimistic, but you know the best way for me to be optimistic is to understand the danger in front of me. A lot of people, some people, they use optimism as an encouragement to put blinders on themselves and hide like cowards from the real world. That is the kind of optimism, if you want to call it that. I would really call it more like slavery that we try to avoid here. New user, I've been on your stream like 5 times. Well, it takes a while to be an OG. Happy Transgender Day of Visibility. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's Easter and all that shit. Yep. Transgender Day. Yeah, let's get that transgender flag going here. We'll go ahead and put that up on the stream. That's a good idea. Thank you for that reminder. I know there's a million different versions, but this one seems to be the one people have agreed upon for now. Oh, it's a WebP? Oh, come on, man. Just okay. Here we go. Wikipedia. You know? Oh, it's all fuzzy. Wikipedia. God. My God. All right. How about this one? eBay stock photo. Here we go. Image. Wait. What am I doing? Okay. Save image. There we go. JPEG. JPEG, dog. Okay. Transflag.jpg. There we go. Let's go ahead and get it up on this. I'll just have to put it on each scene. No problem. Transflag. Wait, what am I doing? Source? No. This is a complete mistake. Hold on. All right, this is worth it. I don't care. I'm slowing down the stream. This is worth it. Trans people are really having a rough time of it right now. They're an incredibly small minority that, you know, because of the recent success of acceptance that we've seen, you know, that they've felt more comfortable coming out. And just as soon as they started feeling really comfortable coming out, they turned into a really handy political bludgeon, a political tool. You know, they're being, literally being recontextualized as pedophilic just for existing. Why to suit some political, you know, narrative for politics. You know, 99% of trans people, they just want to exist without feeling uncomfortable. Other people, you know, feeling like, and then the exact opposite happens, you know, so that Trump can win a fucking presidential election, you know. Just set him back a couple decades, just so some schmuck can win a presidential election. That's really cool. Hey, Woke Patriot, you're 100% correct. And if my stomach is any indication, I think we know the answer. So back to Merrick Garland here. Yuck, I'm not a clams guy. I like clam chowder, but that's about it. So back over to Merrick Garland. It's not clear exactly when Garland formally approved an investigation of Trump himself, but the investigations unit tasked with January 6 case at the time began issuing subpoenas for presidential phone logs, schedules, and drafts of speeches by May 2022. So, well, is that over a year? And possibly earlier, and the DOJ was directly asking witnesses about his actions by that summer. But did not start immediately. Which is insane to me. However, Trump had already started trying to block and delay the investigation, which was already slowed down by issues related to claims of executive privilege and attorney-client privilege. And by the time those legal issues were sorted out, the former president announced himself as a candidate for the 2024 presidential election. So he sat on his hands, hoping the problem would go away. Basically, realized, oh yeah, I'm not doing my job. Put some other people in charge to help expedite it. Doesn't really get the ball rolling until like a year after. And Joe Biden, I bet you Joe Biden would still defend this choice, and you know, we wouldn't replace if this was Trump. Oh, get him out of there, And I'm not encouraging the politicization of the Justice Department. That's not what I'm encouraging. But I'm just saying, just do your job, do a normal investigation. Wow, what a dereliction of duty, man. Number one criminal in the country. You wait a year, like over a year, to get going. Fuck you, Merrick Garland, and fuck you, Joe Biden. So, like I said before, welcome back, Strategy. Like I said before, too fucking little, too fucking late. MSNBC, with the finish line visible, over here, oh gosh, maybe Joe Biden should have put somebody that was doing their job properly. God, I wish there was an institution that could have held Joe Biden to account instead of sucking his old man balls. Golly gee, I wish there was a $1 billion media institution that could have maybe been holding Biden's feet to the fire day one. Hey, so, okay, week 2 into Merrick Garland being in charge, no Trump investigation. What's going on? No. We're going to wait until the final hour, the final minute, couple months away from the goddamn election to tiptoe into a little criticism of the dismal, abysmal, neoliberal strategy when it comes to fighting fascism. Literally just the law, just let the law, just put somebody in charge that does his job, change nothing else than that. Literally just read an article, just explaining to you, insiders giving us information. Oh, gee, it's over a year. We still haven't done anything. Oh, no, I thought this problem was going to fix itself because his political career was over. Joe Biden doesn't replace him, keeps his job. So let's watch MSNBC over here. Dick fully exposed and in one's hand, out in the goddamn open over here, looking like fucking idiots. This is the institution that should have been holding Joe Biden to account. And watch, does he even mention Joe Biden in this? I bet he doesn't. Oh, it's an election year. We got to do our job. Should have been doing your job 2 to 3 weeks into Merrick Garland being there. Instead of running puff pieces and emulating the Robert Mueller experience. Holy fuck, it is Easter. Holy shit. Fuck. He came back like a motherfucking OG. Blasting through that rock. I wish Jesus was real. I wish Jesus was real. I wish that motherfucker would come back. You betcha. Oh, 100%. I'm more Christ-like. I'm more godly than your average Christian. Because I have principles that I hold myself to. Unlike your average Christian in America. Who sins and blasphemes and intentionally misinterprets the good book for his own fucking disgusting political purposes. You know, more money changers in the church, not less. You goddamn right I'd love to see Jesus coming back. You fucking right I would. Hell yeah, praise him. Praise Jesus. Kidding me? It'd be sick. It'd be sick as fuck, dude. It'd be awesome. You know what? You know why, dude? Because he'd be going after these fools. He'd be going after these. It'd be like 1 week of like, oh my God, it's real. It's him. It's real. And then the next week would be like, is Jesus woke? Jesus said we should love gay people, dude. What?
Donald Trump has literally done everything in his power to delay his January 6th criminal trial. At the moment, his argument of presidential immunity has put the brakes on Trump's case as the Supreme Court prepares to consider it. And that gambit may work by pushing a possible trial date closer and closer to the election. Today, we're learning new details about how the Justice Department's investigation into January 6th itself unfolded and how the process may have inadvertently played into Trump's hands. The New York Times reports that at the start of the probe, the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, encouraged prosecutors to, quote, follow the connective tissue upward, adding a directive that would eventually lead to a dead end. Follow the money. With that, he set the course of a determined and methodical, if at times dysfunctional and maddeningly slow investigation that would yield the indictment of Donald Trump on 4 counts of election interference in August of 2023. As the Time notes that as a result, prosecutors in the FBI spent months sticking to their traditional playbook. They started with smaller players and worked upward, despite the transparent, well-documented steps taken by Mr. Trump himself in public and behind the scenes to retain power after voters rejected his bid for another term. Joining me now is Ankush Khardori, senior writer for Political Magazine and a former Department of Justice federal prosecutor who specialized in financial fraud. Ankush, thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, tell me what the issue is here, because this did unfold. The investigation sort of unfolded like a financial crime investigation would. You find people lower and lower on the totem pole, and you move your way up until you have enough evidence to convict the people on top. Why was that not the right strategy in this case?
So look, it's not necessarily how a financial fraud investigation works, particularly if you have a very large organization and a managerial class at the top. And you can roughly analogize that to what we saw on January 6th. You have all these people at the bottom, and then you have a hierarchy at the top, Trump, all these White House folks, and the people in the Trump campaign orbit who are
people that are still in office and still making decisions. Remember Mike Johnson, who's currently the Speaker of the House for the Republicans, was one of the planners of January 6th. He's seen zero accountability.
Doing something at a higher level that may also warrant some scrutiny. These paths, like pursuing the rioters and pursuing Trump, the potential Trump campaign officials and people around him, Rudy Giuliani and the like, they were not mutually exclusive. That is the big problem with the premise underlying the Justice Department's approach here. They keep saying, even in this piece, we were just following a traditional playbook, moving ourselves from the bottom to the top. But it never had to proceed like that, and it shouldn't have proceeded like that. And it's important to remember that it was just a few days before January 6th that we all heard the call that Donald Trump had with Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. That call alone, and I wrote a piece on this that published on January 6th, actually, that call alone warranted the opening of a federal criminal investigation as soon as Biden took office, or at a minimum, as soon as Merrick Garland took office.
So that's the question that many people have, and that is that if they're...
basically, if you weren't paying attention, he basically said, shit's fucked up, yo, Merrick Garland fucked up. He's not going after the criminals. This is not normal. He used to work for the DOJ. You talking about your motherboard? If your motherboard doesn't let you use your keyboard well, yeah, maybe update that BIOS, homie.
There appears to be evidence out in the open with participants in matters that needed to be examined who could be subpoenaed and one could get information. Why not move in that obvious direction? What was holding them back? Were they worrying about something else?
And why would the Biden administration, after seeing this inaction, after seeing this failure, not replace Merrick Garland or threaten his job at the very least? Do it in private. You're the goddamn boss. You don't have to do that shit in public. Call him into your office and be like, look, I don't want you to, this isn't me asking for a conviction. This is me asking you to do your job. I want investigations of the people that committed crimes, right? I want real investigations. I don't want any kind of special treatment. I don't care how, you were put in charge to do your job. That's all I want you to do. He didn't do that once. Complete and total lack of fucking leadership from Joe Biden.
Is there an investigation underway for which these added pieces of information did not sort of lend themselves? Why wouldn't the obvious be the case?
It's a very good question, and this piece doesn't really answer it, right? Even though it's a remarkably good report.
Because the answer is a lack of leadership from this neoliberal administration that, frankly, is on autopilot. It's like, Alexa, can you just be a liberal administration? Yeah, sure, no problem. Okay, good. I'm going to take a 3-year nap. Now, I'm being hyperbolic, but I've been saying this from the very beginning. The entire Biden administration has been acting like it's just normal times, like it's just regular stuff. And I'm not calling for them, like I said, to be an authoritarian All I am asking is for them to put people in charge that actually want to do their job. And no, it was just the exact same. Merrick Garland was put in charge, and it's just like he would have been put in charge regardless of whether there was an emergency or not. You know, it just doesn't. There doesn't seem to be any consideration, and there's also like this arrogance, right? Because it's like, well, I fucked up. Okay, Merrick Garland was a mistake. He's not, he's not going after these criminals, and his strategy was totally wrong, and maybe his heart's in the right place, but he's just not doing the job that I asked him to, which was quite simple. Go after the criminals. Go after people that have committed crimes. So we're getting somebody else in there. That's exactly what a Republican administration would do. And of course, they would be doing it because it's like, no, I want you to be a sycophant. I want you to do exactly what I said. I want you to, politicize the Justice Department. So they have completely different motivations, and they're shameless, and they don't care. But it's not like, liberal or progressive or Democratic presidential administrations have switched out their AG for various reasons, and there was like a major scandal. You know what I mean? Like it's just the biggest deal in the world, unprecedented. No, it's not. Presidents shift around their cabinets all the time. It's a lack of leadership. And there's an arrogance to it as well. Like, well, we didn't fuck up. This is the right. Any other strategy would have failed even worse.
My sense, having also done a little bit of reporting around this, is that there was a real reluctance to pursue Trump in a manner that made it look like it was political retaliation, or that it was a Democrat pursuing a Republican or some sort of partisan affair, and that sort of was something that Merrick Garland in particular was quite concerned about. And, some of the arguments in the piece that we hear from some of the officials who were involved are frankly, had me kind of pulling my hair out, because the piece quotes someone saying that, in 2021, it was, quote unquote, simply inconceivable that Trump might ever return to the political stage. That person is quoted anonymously, and my sincere advice to them is to stay anonymous forever, because that was not true.
Right, because if that's correct. There was nobody who believed that was true. I want to point out
that's interesting. I missed that part. What did he say?
Quote someone saying that, in 2021, it was, quote unquote, simply inconceivable that Trump might ever return to the political stage. That person is quoted anonymously, and my sincere advice to them is to stay anonymous forever, because that was not true.
Right, because if that's correct. There was nobody who believed that was true.
And of course, the people that were in charge of the entire Justice Department, of course, are the people that are that clueless. This is how the neoliberals fuck. This is how they do it. They snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, or defeat from the jaws of victory. You know what I mean? They and people, conspiracy theorists and scholars have been very suspicious of the last couple decades of this tie one hand behind your back mentality. That it false opposition, kind of a WWF kind of style of politics, right? Where you pretend, I'm hurt. We're defeated. We have no choice. We saw this early on in the Biden administration when it comes to the parliamentarian getting in the way. There was just nothing we could do. There's just a procedural. We could easily replace him and get over this hurdle, but we're just not gonna, and we're gonna ignore the fact that we could do this easily. We could change the filibuster rules, but we better not. Tradition. We can add more seats to the Supreme Court, but but tradition. Gosh, every time we try, they just have us on the ropes, guys. Does it even matter if it's true or not? Right? Does it matter if it's just incompetence, if it's their own corruption, their own arrogance, or if it's literally intentionally them pretending, because they're basically on the same side? Does it even matter? Because what is the end result? A power vacuum that's filled by authoritarian fascists.
Point out what you talked about, Merrick Garland. On the first anniversary of January 6th, Merrick Garland was asked by reporters about why this is taking so long. Here's what he said.
Here we go.
We understand that there are questions about how long the investigation will take and about what exactly we are doing. Our answer is, and will continue to be, the same answer we would give with respect to any ongoing investigation. As long as it takes, and whatever it takes, for justice to be done consistent with the facts and the law.
You have 4 fucking years, buddy. There's a 50-50 chance you're not going to have a job in a couple months. So you're dead fucking wrong. You got 4 fucking, as long as it takes, wherever it takes us, until you're fucking replaced with the Trump sycophant who throws the whole thing away. What a pathetic answer. Pathetic. We're gonna the Justice Department, because they won't even admit that the Justice Department is broken. They won't even admit it. So they think it's still an infallible institution. It's honorable, that will be respected by both parties, and it's borderline delusion. And it just feeds the fire into the conspiracy that these guys are intentionally doing this. That this is some grand theater. It's like, how can I, a person like me, is what I was going to say. How can a person like me have more of an understanding? It's unfathomable. I didn't even go to college, man. I'm barely holding it together. Look at me. There's no fucking way I got my shit together more than this dickhead. So what's the other excuse, right? What's the other? It's intentional. So maybe, why is it intentional? Why? I think that because it breaks down into individuals, you can't really get it. There's not a uniform why. There's different motivations for different individuals as to why they're playing this game. Some know it's a game. Some are true believers. Some are there to get rich. They're all there to get rich. But I mean, I have an example on the right wing of a true believer, a guy that, he was a right winger. He 100% thought, all these, the left is stealing elections and they're corrupting elections, and he voted 9 fucking times because he believed his own bullshit, and now he's going to jail because that's actually really hard to do, to defraud the election system. Some of these guys are true believers. Some of these guys are cynical, Rahm Emanuels, who know exactly what they're there to do and know exactly what the game they're playing is. This is it, man. This is it. He's it. He's the last guard at the door. Before the floodgates open up. This is it. We don't get another shot if we lose. You don't get another 4 years, Merrick. What kind of name is that? Welcome back, Kissing Gonzo.
Done consistent with the facts and the law.
The problem is the as long as it takes and whatever it takes are now coming up against one another.
That's exactly right. And I think the easiest way to think about kind of the path that was not taken by the Justice Department is to look at what the January 6th committee did, because they did pretty much exactly what I'm describing. Straight to the top, go to the principles, don't dilly-dally, with the rioters and hoping that you can work yourself, from them to Trump.
Okay, we won't waste time with criticizing the January 6th Commission. With that said, I have plenty of criticisms of the January 6th Commission. If you were watching the News Underground back when that was happening, you would know I covered every single one of them live. And, a lot of blind spots. We'll just say that. Moving on.
Years down the line, straight to the chop, efficient, move aggressively, move quickly. And, I think that, the January 6th committee, did a considerable service for the public just in revealing the facts, but they also demonstrated that the Justice Department's approach was deeply flawed.
I want to ask you about this as somebody who has dealt with financial crimes in the past. The Times reports that Garland told prosecutors to focus on the money. Department leaders believe that the best way to justify prosecuting Mr. Trump and the Willard plotters, talking about the Willard Hotel, was to find financial links between them and the rioters because they thought it would be more straightforward and less risky than a case based on untested election interference charges.
Literally, well, this would be easier to do. This is going to be easier than going after real criminals. The entire reason why financial criminals too big to fail exists, right? Oh, our institution just isn't robust and well-funded enough to actually go after these advanced financial criminals. So we'll just go after mom and pops and the middle class. This is what this is how much they care about our democracy.
Charges. Look, we have the benefit of evaluating that thinking. In hindsight, didn't turn out to be true.
Oh,
but what do you think about the fact that
maybe if there was a millionaire reading a teleprompter that could have maybe told the fucking American public about this incredible failure of leadership, Fauci, go back to your fucking penthouse and enjoy your fucking life. I hope it was worth it, man. You could have done your job, dude.
Started by taking that approach. Let's connect the money. I mean, we hear about that all the time. Follow the money.
Again, these things are not mutually exclusive. I mean, that's why the premise that the defenders here have adopted, it's just simply not true. I mean, let's just remember, again, Trump was already on a recorded call before January 6th, and it was apparent even from that call that Trump might have criminal exposure under Title 18, Section 241, which is one of the statutes he was eventually charged under. It is an election fraud statute. So these were not obscure issues. These were not things that people were not thinking about in real time, arguing about and advocating for in real time, including, quite candidly, myself. I wrote a lot of pieces about this and about my concerns that the Justice Department was moving.
Blatant, demonstrable criminal activity ignored. Why? Because he wears a suit. No, this will be complicated. He'll go to the Supreme Court. No, we got election season. I was put in charge to rub my hands and rub these pearls. I do my job. That's hard. Joe Biden, oh, he's doing the best he can. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm going to go take another nap.
Too slowly, and in particular, that there would be a problem if Trump eventually tried to return to power.
Look, I'm pissed because people were calling me hyperbolic. They said, wait and see. I had pushback. Let the process, do its job. And once again, my cynical ass was 100% correct about this character.
He may actually be able to outrun the case, and we're seeing that.
These cases are all important, but the January 6th case, because it's election interference, because it talks about the right to vote and to have your vote counted, it is the most important case. What's your sense of the likelihood of this going to trial before the election?
Look, I think it's unfortunately just brass tacks. I think it's fairly low. I would like to see it go to trial. I think the public's interest and the public imperative here is very strong, and that the law is on the side of having it move forward before November. However, the Supreme Court is moving slowly. I am concerned that they may try to send it back to Chutkan with some instructions to conduct some more legal analysis and potentially preliminary fact-finding. If that happens, that could be the whole ballgame.
No, look, and when they interview these people, when they interview, Justice Kagan, how come you didn't do more? It's going to be a lot of, oh, well, it's their fault, and they did it, and they should have shame, and shame on them, and shame on them, shame on the right, and shame on the left, and all the people that didn't support neoliberals. See, we told you. It's going to be a lot of that. There's going to be no mea culpa from this group of failures who by hook or by crook did everything within their power to make sure that we had mediocre options, to make sure that we followed their terrible strategies right into hell.
Recall Mayor Shanktown.
Moving on, thank God. If I had to talk about Merrick Garland anymore, I was going to have like an actual aneurysm. He makes me really mad, dude, irrationally. Nothing makes me more angry than when power is given to people who make lefty or progressive or lofty promises on the left. And then they refuse to use their power. You know, excuse after excuse after excuse. You know, the squad is guilty of this. Look how effective Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and the rest have been. You know, Matt Gaetz. 8 or 10 of these extremists can hold up the entire everything to get what they want. And they basically have been given what they want on a silver platter, but it's still not good enough to them. But we still have squad members. The squad getting on, in front of the cameras and like making arguments about, oh well, we gotta work with and capitulate, and you know we can't hold up the process, you know, just to get what we want. We'll be seen as petulant, and then they'll out fundraise us and attack us politically, and we might lose our jobs if we have principles. And it's like, that's not what we voted for, dog. I get it. I get it. Especially like, you know, especially when you're dealing with the DNC, you know, pumping money into candidates. But frankly, don't they do that anyway, whether you play the game or not? Zelensky regime is the aggressors, huh? Oh man. What was Zelensky thinking? Just sitting there getting invaded. What a dum-dum. What a dum-dum. Yeah, he you know, joining NATO certainly would have been a big mistake for Ukraine, huh? Yeah, no. That certainly wouldn't have repelled Russia's aggression, right? It seems to me being a member of NATO is a surefire guarantee to make sure that you don't get invaded by Russia. But, that's just me. So moving on over here, I wanted to do this story about an Oakland mayor. Yeah, no, I know, honey. Okay, all right, well. NATO overthrew. Yeah, no, that's a fact. That's total fact. It's a NATO-run government now, guys. The Zelensky organization, the Zelensky administration. Yeah, no shit. Oh God, I mean, it's so desperate. It's so desperate. Is it really about convincing anybody, or is it really more about confusing everybody? Those narratives, those absurd narratives, right? Well, I don't know. I don't really know a lot about NATO in 2014, and maybe there was something that happened. I don't know. I don't follow the news as much because I'm just trying to survive. It's to confuse those people, right? You and I, the people in the chat, we've been following this since day one. You know, we know that's utterly absurd that NATO took over Ukraine. You can't get NATO to fucking get off its ass to, you know, to even help Ukraine right now, even when there's an emergency. Oh no, they're running the whole show though. Meanwhile, people living in reality are like, could NATO actually help? Could NATO do anything at all? So it sounds absurd to us, but for normies, it's like, well, I don't know about the entire history of NATO in 2014. Maybe something did happen. I don't know. Maybe he's right. Maybe it's just both sides. Both sides. I don't know. It's all confusing. Both sides. Oh, where are those blinders? Those comfortable blinders. Oh, both sides. Both sides. Light our souls. Uh-oh. Guys, who do we think Light Our Souls is going to be voting for, huh? Who do we think Light Our Souls is going to be voting for? Welcome back, student debt. All right, so let's get back to attack from the left here. Neoliberals are failing progressives because they get into office using the language of progressivism, pretending to be progressives, they enact pseudo progressive policies to kind of make it look like they're fulfilling their job, but they don't follow through and enact proper ones and full programs. The end result being making these progressive ideas that absolutely do work, that provably, demonstrably do work when implemented correctly. Not always, but are more successful than just throwing people in jail. Making these policies look terrible because they enact them kind of in a half-assed neoliberal way. So here's an example. We're seeing this in California. We had a big rush of liberals come in, taking power, with, talking about decriminalization. Like, okay, we have solutions to the homeless problem. We're going to treat people like human beings. We're going to help people. And they've decriminalized. They've gotten that far. But then there's no buttressing, there's no backup, and there's no common sense to some of these decriminalizations. So you'll get guys that will commit an offense and then hours later will be right back on the street committing the same offense. Only the people that are the most egregious actually get arrested. People that have been bipping, if you know what bipping means, you shatter the window of a car and steal the contents of the vehicle. So only the people that bip and commit crime egregiously get any kind of real punishment. It turns the whole area into a hellhole, right? Where you're like constantly watching your back because you could be victimized at any time. It's not like you're gonna get murdered, but some motherfucker try to steal your shit, rip the cell phone out of your hand. I saw that personally. I was enjoying a nice brunch on a San Francisco sidewalk, guy, talking on his cell phone. Some kid runs by, rips his cell phone out of his hand. The Kick chatbot. Is something wrong with it? I don't know. No, we got a comment here from Light Our Souls from DLive. So anyway, that's what I'm trying to say here is that we are seeing a failure of some of these decriminalization policies because the neoliberals are enacting these policies like neoliberals do, half-assed, means tested, doesn't follow through, wastes a lot of money on a lot of shit that doesn't really work, while the effective stuff is starved because it's too expensive or a failure of leadership to admit when they're wrong. And what we're seeing is the same thing we're seeing here, a similar kind of paradigm we're seeing here in Canada, where the Justin Trudeau liberals are dropping the ball so hard, it's allowing these right-wing grifters, these right-wing conservatives, who are promising, because we got PP out here saying he's going to axe the tax. Meanwhile, he has no policies whatsoever that are going to make middle-class taxes if anything, he's going to raise middle-class taxes while lowering taxes for corporations, yada yada. Same conservative bullshit, right? Privatize everything, that'll make it all better magically, even though there's no proof of that. Same shit. So it's this failure of neoliberal leadership in some of our most like left-wing areas, that is once again creating power vacuums that the right wing feel, because people are just desperate for anybody coming in saying anything different, and the right wing is happy to do it. And this is the result right here.
Recall Mayor Sheng Thao started back in January.
But now there's a whole recall for this neoliberal mayor. And of course, she calls herself a progressive, and all the media calls her a progressive. So what happens? People think that's progressivism. That failure of leadership, the terrible utopian ideas that go nowhere. That's what they think progressive leadership looks like.
And already, proponents say they are confident. Good evening on this Saturday. I'm Christina Rendon. Today, a group leading the recall effort held a rally in Oakland. New at 10, KTVU's Tom Vakar was at that gathering. And Tom, how far along are these organizers?
Much farther than I think anybody realizes. It surprised me. Using a shuttered business for their stage, recallers say, in fact, they are succeeding. Saturday afternoon saw yet another rally to recall Oakland Mayor Sheng Thao.
And do these people look like MAGA people? You know what I mean? These are the people that the neoliberals are leaving behind with their lies. with their straight up lies. You can only get away with this, with taking the language of progressivism and pretending you're a big liberal. Meanwhile, emulating Ronald Reagan when you actually get into office. You can only do that so long before people get sick of it. And then, of course, the grifters come in.
Saturday afternoon saw yet another rally to recall Oakland Mayor Sheng Thao in what was once Restaurant Le Cheval, closed in part due to street crime.
Right back.
She didn't inherit all of these problems.
Yes,
she caused a number of problems.
Retired Alameda Superior Court Judge Brenda Harbin Forte heads the recall petition.
People who say give her more time to do what? She has ruined our city.
A recall is possible due to Oakland's ongoing bouts with brash criminal activity, missing a deadline to secure $15 million in state funding to combat retail crime, the recent spate of Hagenberger businesses closures, as well as the continuing failure to appoint a permanent police chief.
Look at the potholes, look at the homelessness, look at the jobs, look at the businesses that are leaving Oakland. And I'm mad as double HE hockey sticks.
Those wanting to dump the mayor must get at least 10% of Oakland's registered voters to sign a recall petition, 25,000 of them by July, and it looks like they'll beat that deadline by months.
12,500 people plus who have signed already to recall Mayor Sheng.
A rainbow of recallers said if the recall gets on the November ballot and if it passes, Thao will be gone.
We are not getting the services that we deserve throughout. And this crime.
And dude, the In-N-Out closed. The In-N-Out in Oakland closed, y'all. Okay, that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
It's spreading.
We know that the voters made a mistake by voting for Sheng Thao, but as you can see with the signatures that we have collected, they are willing to correct their mistake.
She either resign or get recalled. Because
either or.
Because she's not doing her job.
Nope.
And we see the consequence of her failure on the streets every day.
Now, as messy as it sometimes can be, this democracy we have, the right of the people to petition their government for what they want and do not want, there'll be no ranked vote, just a straight-up vote, yes or no. Back to you.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see what happens.
No, that's great. No, let's do it. Take it back to the people. See how because maybe these are just a vocal minority, and there's more nuance to it. When I was there, it was apparent every single day that whatever promises the neoliberals that are in charge, whatever promises they make, it's not enough. It's not enough. So they're either really bad at their job, corrupt, fill in the blank, whatever it is. And meanwhile, they use their power and their position to suppress real progressive voices. The real progressive policy people, real folks on the left, they get destroyed by the corporate neoliberals if you don't toe their line. That's a massive problem. No one's a better enemy of progressives than the neoliberals, straight up. They work overtime to make sure real progressives don't get anywhere close to power and replace them. So I wanted to report on this. Biden cancels $6 billion in student debt for 78,000 public service workers. Okay, all right. Okay. It seems like a lot, right? $6 billion. Whoa, 78,000. What did this motherfucker promise us? I should have that ready, but I don't. So I won't belabor the point here. But once again, great example of means tested into oblivion to appease corporate, and no push whatsoever. You're making all kinds of concessions to the right wing on immigration and fill in the blank. And this is the slop you hand us. It sounds like a lot to the regular Joe. 6 billion, 78,000. That's not a lot. And these are just public service workers. which is really great because it's a whole program that, you know, promises to pay student debt and like, you know, help you out if you put in your time to, you know, back to society or you put in your time, you should, you know, you get, so it's like, it's definitely at the top of the means. If you're going to means test all of this, if you're going to take out, if you're going to be like, you're unworthy, these are the folks that should be at the very top of the list, that should be compensated. So, but this is the best they can do. This limp dick, limp noodle. This is the best he can do, man. And it's nowhere close. It's nowhere close to what was promised to us. Nowhere close to what was promised to us. But like I said, I don't have that queued up. That would have been a slamming segment if I had, because I'm pretty sure he promised to like cancel like student debt for like millions of students, tens of thousands of students, hundreds of thousands of students, maybe. Anyway, see, I'm floundering because I didn't have my source, but not enough. Not enough. You think those 78,000 people are gonna change the direction of the election? You think that's gonna get Gen Z to the Pokemon polls? You fossil. I can't do that. I shouldn't do that. I have my respect for elders. You know what I mean, though? That's supposed to sway the youth. Oh well, he canceled $6 billion of student debt for one specific segment of people. Yeah, thanks. Did I qualify? No, of course you don't. There's like a 5% chance that you would be qualifying for it. Yeah, okay, awesome, great. I'll make sure to get to the Pokemon polls. In between shifts at Trader Joe's. Meanwhile, Trader Joe's trying to literally destroy the 8-hour work week. Why don't you just tattoo that Hawaiian shirt to my fucking body, you fucking oligarch? Just tattoo that shirt right to my body at birth. You are a Trader Joe's team member. Zzz. War on Gaza. Biden donors say U.S. president's Gaza policy, quote unquote, increasing chances of a Trump victory. So we've talked about this. We don't need to belabor this. I should, you know, but if you want to read it, it's pretty interesting article. I probably only read half of it because I suck. I ain't got time for any of this shit. But we've talked about this in the past. You know, it's a calculation. You know, how many people in America support Israel versus how many people in America support Palestinians, Arab people. One big problem with this strategy is that he's going to win over a lot of pro-Israel Jewish people in safe areas in very blue states. Meanwhile, one of the most important states electorally, Michigan, purple state, you know, it's one of those quote-unquote swing states, has one of the highest Muslim populations, and they're absolutely, Arab populations, I mean, and they're absolutely pissed. They're absolutely pissed. And there's a very good chance that Joe Biden is going to lose Michigan because of his Palestine policy. He's trying to play both sides, but he's doing a really piss poor job at playing both sides because he'll send his subordinates out and make quotes, comments himself about how Rafah can't happen. Well, okay, well, maybe if you're going to do Rafah, but you got to do it right. And okay, well, he'll do that. And then Bibi Netanyahu will literally come out with a statement and be like, oh, yeah, we're absolutely invading Rafah. What are you going to do about it, bitch boy? And then Joe Biden the next day, oh, okay, well, here's another $6 billion. Sorry. I don't get it. Trump has a better policy or just won't vote for him? Trump's policy is kill all the Palestinians, apparently. Trump's quoted as saying is literally, finish the job. Whatever the hell that means. Motherfucker over here speaking like he's a motherfucking G.I. Joe villain. Finish the job. Then we'll get Captain Planet. We'll go back Chillpoy. You're right. You're damn right. Trans Day. There's no other day there's nothing else happening today. No other holiday or anything. Arabs that don't like this policy. Well, okay, so Word 'em Up is pointing out, well, that's counterproductive, right? Because Trump is going to double down. But Word 'em Up, you need to remember, voters are irrational. They're always irrational. And this idea that, like shaming voters or, trying to blame voters for being emotional doesn't really work very well. Hasn't really worked very well as a strategy for the neoliberals. I think what the left needs to do is just accept that people are emotional, that normies are emotional, and that if you want their vote, you need to court them in the way that they need to be courted. The right understands the emotional nature of voters. Fascists understand how emotional people are, and they're happy to manipulate. And I'm not saying the left needs to manipulate per se, but there's nothing wrong with being aware of the audience when you're creating a message. I'm not emotional, you're emotional. How dare you? How dare you say I'm offended? I'm gonna report you. Anyway, so like I said, if you want to read the article, there's the link. I put it in the chat one more time from Middle East Eye. But we've talked about this. It's a calculation, and it might not be a smart one. It might not be the right one. Stop calling me emotional. Welcome back, Clutch. Welcome back, Dakota, and Chillpoy. Welcome back, and hello to Word 'em Up. Good to see you. So once again, this is just another. I believe this one's from Woke Patriot, and I of course do not have time to read it because I'm a hack. Because I'm actually terrible at my job, and there's a lot of news I want to cover. So I'm already an hour in, but this is a fascinating article that further backs up, more evidence to what we're talking about. How this is being perceived as Islamophobic by voters, regardless of whether Trump is going to double down or not. That doesn't. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't use logic when they make these kind of decisions. That's just the shitty deal we're dealt with humanity and democracy. It's the best, worst system for a reason. You can have your democracy if you can keep it, and all that. But this is just more evidence that further buttresses that treating maybe this whole. I'm so proud of the legacy of supporting Israel since it's 5 seconds into its inception. I don't know, man. Maybe we should treat Arab people like human beings. Can we try that? It's the moment, but the calculation is right. The moment they say they carrot and stick Israel for real, and they cut off the aid to Israel, the moment they legitimately hurt Israel in any kind of way strategically, if there was ever any kind of battlefield ramifications, that would immediately be blamed on the Biden administration. The entire right-wing apparatus would erupt in unison. Look at Joe Biden helping Hamas. Joe Biden, newest member of Hamas. Look at Joe Biden over here. That's what he's so worried about. And of course, because the neoliberals are cowards, they don't know how to handle that. They don't have a response to that. So it's just easier to kind of, less people care about Arab people. So vote for me. I'm straw manning a bit. I know. Once again, I don't have time to read this. I don't even have time to cover third parties because honestly, they're kind of pathetic right now. On top of the usual suppression that we saw in 2016. A little bit, you sound on point. Hey, that's what's so great about straw men is that they're really easy to attack. Pick them apart, no problem. They don't even fight back. It's great. But so on top of the fact that the neoliberal or the neoliberals got him obsessed, No, but on top of the fact that the third parties are being suppressed by the neoliberal DNC establishment, as per usual, like I said, the DNC establishment spends a good chunk of its money, a good chunk of its resources, making sure progressive challengers are destroyed and defeated. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, 2016, Bernie. Do I need to go into it? Right? They didn't stop. They didn't stop with Bernie. And it didn't start with Bernie either. Those dirty tricks have been a reality for third parties and progressives for decades. You know, so there was just like Bernie was just a reminder of just how badly corrupt this system of picking a candidate really is. And there, of course, reflexively, even though Cornel West and Marianne Williamson and RFK are not very effective to be charitable. I love Cornel West. I got his book right behind me. Only read about half of it, but it's a page turner. He's so eloquent. He's so amazing. But wow, homie, your political instincts. Oh shit! Right? I look forward to next season. Maybe when you get your shit together. It is amazing. Like I guess you really do have to be like a masochist paying attention to this disgusting system, because you could be a successful politically aligned person, but you're not really paying attention to the nuts and bolts of these horse race, you're still somehow you're in, but you're still in the periphery. You're in, but you're still in the periphery in a way. No, Woke Patriot, 100% agree. I agree. I'm not advocating for any of this. I want to destroy the first past the post system. I want to, national ranked choice voting. But we can never expect this institution to fix itself. The neoliberals are never going to fix this system. And of course, the right-wing fascists want to break the system in twain. Yes, Woke Patriot. Yes, I agree. Yeah, what can I sit here and say? Yeah, of course. We're, in Canada, things only because of the fact that the parliamentarian system is not a scam, is not fastidial, is actually legitimate, have the NDP been able to get a foothold, unlike the Greens, who are pathetically utopian, have a terrible policy, terrible organization. The NDP have, for the first time in Canadian history, given the Canadians something other than a conservative or a Democrat to vote for. Its entire history since the start of its constitution in Canada has only been two-party. But because that system was not as much of a scam, it was more legitimate than in the United States with our electoral college that has secured. We've seen the NDP able to, push. It's so hilarious. The NDP is literally pushing the Trudeau government to follow its promises, to follow its manifestos. Is Cornel on a realistic political crusade or just a moral one? I don't really care. I mean, I love the man. I think he's incredibly intelligent. I think he's got. I've never heard. Like 95% of the shit he says I totally agree with. It's just fascinating to me that he's, you would think he's so plugged in, and then he comes out the gate like Jimmy Dore's party and then the Green Party, and then, okay, now finally I'm going to consider myself an independent. It's just, but regardless of that, we're not going to get into that debate right now. Because regardless of that, the DNC establishment, because it really only knows how to attack progressives properly. That's the only thing it knows how to do well. Is still suppressing Marianne Williamson and Cornel West. Oh no! Even a scratch could take us down. Even one voice in opposition has enough power to tip the 50-50 scale in one direction or another. That's just how pathetic we are. We're so pathetic, you can't talk about our failures. Because we're this close to losing. But make sure you vote for us. Make sure you support us, because we're the only ones who know what we're doing. Yeah, woulda, shoulda, coulda, woulda, woke patriot. The system is never going to reform itself. The only way we're going to get, we're going to destroy first past the post is by following the strategy that I advocate for, and I don't think you disagree with me, which is strategic voting and, primarying neoliberal politicians with real, shamelessly primarying neoliberal politicians at every level, regardless of their power. Hakeem Jeffries, he should be primaried. He should be a number one target, Hakeem Jeffries, by a progressive, political, moneyed, very well moneyed, progressive political primary challenging organization. We're not, because the neoliberals are never going to fix this. Yeah, well, that's something that you would say, right, woke patriot? But strategic voting's all the best we got. That's literally all we got. You want to keep waiting for a system that will be better. Okay, yeah, you keep waiting, buddy. It's like that Ice Cube segment in that Ice Cube track. He's talking to that religious guy. Waiting for it to. Anyway, I won't. I won't butcher it. I should stop bringing up Ice Cube, though, because he's an anti-Semite, so.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
I don't have time to get into this, but I did find this conversation interesting. If you were a millennial or just anybody who wants to see a discussion, why is everyone so content with how screwed we are? This is exactly what I'm talking about with my 3-step program. If you want to see change, you have little choice but to act. There's no more waiting. There's no more, hoping for a cult of personality. We either organize, like I said, 3-step program, get informed, join a progressive political organization, and then step 3 is put in the work, actually do something, act. Once a week, once a month, ask yourself, what am I doing for this movement? Literally our only choice, because the alternative is a not annihilation, but a type of slavery, a type of serfdom. That it will lead to violence. More, people will likely die, and who knows what kind of war, might be started by a dictatorial, autocratic, authoritarian, right-wing regime that no longer has to worry about elections. Yeah, ranked choice voting would absolutely weed out corporatists and extremists, and allow progressivism and alternate choice to flourish. It wouldn't work every time because the American public is easily duped and easily fooled. But ranked choice voting would go a long way into giving us a much better democratic choice. But look, I understand you're busy. The chains that are currently binding us are intentionally placed and designed in this way. We're busy because it benefits the empire. Our money is worthless because it benefits the empire. Our education system is the way it is because it benefits the empire. So being stressed that you can't afford a house, your job sucks. It's all intentional. These are all the chains that are put upon you intentionally. Welcome back, Davey. I don't think I said welcome back. And the only way, literally the only thing that has ever worked to break those chains that are real is the 3-step program, aka political activism. It's literally the only thing that's ever worked in a democracy. Once you get out of a democracy, there are other options that we're going to be forced to take. And yeah, it involves violence. And it's no matter how peaceful you're going to get, the violence will be brought to us. So hey, leftists who want a revolution, who want a nice violent revolution where they could die in the streets for their beliefs. Keep doing nothing. Keep sitting on your hands and making excuses and waiting for your revolution. Because apathy is a surefire way to get us to political violence, because what is it going to be? What, banning interracial marriage? That finally gets people rioting? What, maybe not the changing the law, but when they actually start enacting it, when they start going door to door to knock on your door, oh, it looks like you're in a, actually they wouldn't do that. They would just send you a letter. Oh, your marriage is now annihilated. Right? I'm in an interracial marriage. I'm married to a Chinese woman. Right? Wouldn't that be hilarious? I get a letter in the mail. Your marriage is now null and void. You're no longer married. Oh, you're being hyperbolic. You're being hyperbolic. Except we're coming up to the asshole segment, and I have all kinds of examples of the kind of tyranny that the right-wing establishment wants to impose upon us. Tyranny. No, yeah, there you go. No, this is tyrannical. Tyranny. Oh, browser just had a heart attack. All right, so moving on to our next segment. Where is it here? Fash update. There it is. Oh, I'm on the right side. Oh, you disoriented? It's so disorienting. Why do I do this to you? Here we are. Insurrection update. What's up with the fascists? And I got a lot more links, so we're going to be blasting through them. Oh, Republicans aren't going to annul your marriage. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, there it is. Literally right on time. Hey, stick around, asshole. Stick around, asshole. You go ahead and tell me after all these examples of the kind of tyranny that Republicans want to impose on society already. And you tell me if it's, because of course you will. Oh, it's paranoia. Let me guess, you want gun anarchy as well? Like the internment camps that will spark a revolution that will begin locking up Chinese, Mexican, black people. That's when it will get nasty. No. Nothing will change your mind, right? Not until it affects you. Right? Right. Hope your neighbor doesn't accuse you of having butt sex, buddy. Mr. Greasy Tails. I know that cartoon. I watch it. Oops, Georgia Republican who cried about stolen elections illegally voted 9 times. So this is that example I was talking about a little earlier. We're not going to watch the whole video here, but we're just going to get it started. Stick around, dickheads who can't wait for their authoritarian daddy to start whipping them. Oh, it's not going to affect me, as someone said. Oh, it's not going to, this isn't going to fundamentally change my life. Okay, well, let's, I got a couple examples. You tell me if that's the case after this hour-long block of examples.
Who cried about voter fraud. It appears yet another Republican who cried about voter fraud was found to have committed it.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, Administrative Law Judge Lisa Boggs of Georgia ruled that the first vice chairman of Georgia's Republican Party, who'd made public claims about widespread voter fraud in the 2020 presidential election, well, had been found voting illegally 9 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there you go. If you want to, Waldorf Nation is great. Make sure you're liking and subscribing, folks. He does great content. You know, he's been doing it for a while, too. At least, I think, almost 10 years. Waldorf is great. Make sure you're liking and subscribing, folks. But yeah, News at 11. These guys are hypocrites. And, you know, it is really funny because some of these guys are true believers. Usually it's not a guy in government, though. And we're starting to get these idiots really in places of real power. True believers, you know, because if you believe all the lies, then you're like, oh, well, what do you mean? The liberals that own the Dominion voting machines, they just changed all the votes to Joe Biden. So I'm just going to fraud the system. It's just because it's just that easy. They're true believers. And the problem with true believers is these are the kind of guys that are going to sink the U.S. dollar, right? Oh, America doesn't need to pay back its debts, and we gotta build a wall. We gotta build a wall. That's why we can't pay back our debts. And then they create a financial catastrophe, and set America back forever, potentially. That's exactly what Russia, China want with our currency. They want to see it diminished, destroyed. And true believers who really believe their bullshit will do something like that. Maybe they'll invade Iraq, thinking that they could just do a quickie invasion in and out. Any example. No stretch of reality to imagine federal immigration detention camps. I mean, look, sky's the limit, man. I don't know. They seem pretty happy putting people in cages. We'll see. And if you watch the right wingers, who are on the fringes, but they got 50,000 people watching them. The Nick Fuentes types, the people that right wing watch are constantly making clips on. They're like, oh yeah, camps, theocratic government, yeah, can't wait, yeah, I'm gonna ban interracial marriage, I'm gonna ban anal sex, I'm gonna ban. They can't wait. And we've seen Trump, I mean, let's not forget, Trump kicked Steve Bannon out. Because he was like too schemy. He was too, he's like, okay, all right, government, let's dictatorship. I'm sure he regrets it now. He did that with Bolton as well. John Bolton. Remember the comments Trump made about John Bolton? Oh, John Bolton just wanted to blow up the world. And it's so funny because John Bolton hates Trump, right? But he hates Trump because he was like, oh, great, finally, I got the guy. I finally slam dunked it. We got the authoritarian. He's going to do what I want and bomb the world. John Bolton wants to fucking blow up everybody. He wants to blow up Iran. So he's over here. Okay, here's the battle plans for blowing up Iran. And Trump was like, I don't want to get into a war with Iran. So I don't know. Oh, maybe I'm just being paranoid. And because Trump's a peace president, right? This is in the asshole section because we're seeing this quite a bit on TikTok and young person social media. Pretty right-wing idiots making bad faith arguments, doing the classic, taking clips out of context, lying, just straight up lying, but trying to reinforce this attack. We got to go after the woke left. The woke left are the real authoritarians. The left wants to change our society in a way to silence our speech, and we're just we're the real freedom fighters. We're the ones that really want liberty, and of course somehow that leads into a justification of banning materials and banning books and all that. It's part of that right-wing pipeline. Well, this is that entry into that right-wing pipeline. So what's really great though about TikTok is that you have people rebutting this and doing a really, really good job. And I saw this example here, and I was like, this kid knocked it out of the park. It's a bit long, but trust me, he's really amazing. Young guy here, talking about the importance of sources, talking about the importance of understanding what we're talking about. Not allowing grifters to with pretty little lies, convincing us that social justice is the real problem. Oh, the problems in America really started happening when black people and people of color and minorities of all different sorts got more rights and were recognized more. That's when things really started. Basically when white people stopped having all the dominance. And that dominance was being questioned. I mean, things were better when white people were in charge of everything, right? So anyway, let's watch this. This is really great. And yeah, I think hopefully you'll enjoy this. If you're a young person, this is probably the kind of content that you're already watching.
Teach high school English and whoo, the white supremacy.
Okay, so let me get this volume corrected here. It's going to do that really loud TikTok thing at the end. I'll try to pause it before then.
Teach high school English and whoo, the white supremacy runs deep. What do I mean by that? Well, let's look at how we write essays. Start with an introduction that includes a thesis. Always cite your sources. Use transition words like however and therefore. These are all made up rules. They're arbitrary. They were created by Westerners in power. In linguistic justice, April Baker Bell calls this the language of respectability or the language of power.
There is nothing more 2022 to me than a high school English and literature teacher saying that using a thesis and words like however and therefore are white supremacist when she is in fact white. College professors have said 2 + 2 = 4 is racist also. So I guess everything is just racist. Breathing is now racist. So
it really terrifies me that the educators that are bringing up the next generation think that things like citing your sources is white supremacy.
Right. So there's some examples of, we see right-wing grifters, just asking questioners who are almost always young libertarians who don't know what the fuck they're actually talking about. Right. Oh, well, you know, common sense libertarian guys, right? Can't believe we have leftist academia trying to say using words like however and therefore are racist and you know just no follow up, no looking into what they're talking about. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because people are going to watch regardless. You're going to get that view regardless. No one's going to check you, and the people that do check you, you can just hand wave away as fake news. TikTok is unique though, because you do this thing called the duet, and your duet kind of becomes part of the algorithm of the original video, and all of them are kind of, you know, shared, and certain ones become more popular than others. And so it's interesting. You'll see misinformation like this come out, but then, you know, and get like 1 million views. But then the duet, which is a correction of this misinformation, gets 2 million views or even higher. It becomes more popular than the original video. That's, to me, that's kind of the definition of free speech, right? That's the definition of meritocracy. People are like, well, you know, they're kind of getting, they're choosing what they want, and it just so happens what they want is a more nuanced and academic take than just, can you believe this woke purple-haired leftist professor believes language is racist somehow? That's weird.
Educators that are bringing up the next generation think that things like citing your sources is white supremacy.
Though it may not look like it, I don't really like being disrespectful to people. And I will try not to be here, but best believe me, if that's how you take it, that's how you take it. Now, those videos came from a little over a year ago, but when I saw them, I knew I wanted to say something about them. I immediately noticed some red flags. Firstly, that you got this video from Libs of TikTok. But secondly, and more importantly, I wanted to know why you paused the video right there. It seemed like she wasn't done talking. I then tried to zoom in so I could see the original creator's username, but I couldn't really make it out, so I decided to type in the first few sentences from the video into the search bar. That's when I found your video, but then I also noticed that you seemed to pause it in a weird place. Thankfully, I could clearly see a username, so I went to her page. Come here, let's all take a look at what was conveniently left out of this video.
In linguistic justice, April Baker Bell calls this the language of respectability or the language of power. Which got me thinking, what if I started my school year with a unit honoring how we talk rather than teaching students how to write properly?
Now stick with me. What if her video happened to be about language and how we view people who speak different dialects, and less about citing sources or saying a word being white supremacy? AKA, what if the meaning of the video is different than what these people seem to lead on? Foreshadow, verb, be a warning or indication of a future event. Right before you cut your video, and right after you cut your video, this teacher cites this source right here. Do you think the truth seeker bothered to seek out this resource? Anyway, moving swiftly along, because there is a such thing as dumb questions, I ended up finding this book review for it. But that wasn't good enough, so I ended up finding the entire 149-page book. Oh my fucking god, cited sources. By linking the racial classifications black and white to language, I am challenging you, the reader, to see how linguistic hierarchies and racial hierarchies are interconnected, and we'll get back to that throughout this video. I was in in the process of reading through chapter 1 when I realized that this book is based off of a study conducted by the same author, so I figured I'd just go find the study. Let me summarize for you what this study is about. We are all taught growing up in the United States correct American grammar or English, and people who deviate from speaking this way are often viewed negatively with different types of stereotypes. In the 70s, right after the Civil Rights Movement, the term academic language began being used and being applied to the default way in which white Americans spoke English. Even if you're skeptical and you don't want to go over historical literature, this makes sense intuitively. Black people were barred from higher education, so when they came up with the language that is deemed academically acceptable, they were not thinking of black people. And at no point in history have white and black people in the United States had the exact same dialect.
I'd like to remind everybody that we actually do see other examples of this outside of the United States, but in a different context. Russia often uses its language and its culture to reinforce its beliefs. And in some of those cases, they're sexist, anti-gay, beliefs that are reinforced with, sometimes using language in various ways. And, it is complicated because you can't really make a one-to-one connection. But this is not something that can just be hand waved away as just, cockamamie, academic, navel gazing, kind of like whatever, like this doesn't have any, this isn't really being reflected in the real world. No, this is how we eliminate systemic racism, is trying to identify some of the sources of it. And what's being said here is not let's change our language. What's being pointed out is that let's remove some of these arbitrary restrictions that do appear, whether intentional or otherwise, do appear to be enforcing certain racial biases, in a very unique, society, kind of human kind of way, right? Like I said, there's no one-to-one connection, so things do get a little bit murky. But that's where critical thinking and you kind of have to have a little intelligence here to kind of understand, the nuance of some of this stuff, because it is a little wonky.
Obviously a dialectical difference. This means that when white people begin school, they're often viewed as being more prepared because their speak is more academic already, as opposed to black students who are viewed as having a disadvantage. All of this has led to even black students viewing the way that they speak as less intelligent than their peers and less worthy of value. This study tests that theory and also provides a lesson plan to help combat some of the deeply held beliefs that many students, even black students, have about the way black people talk. This isn't just some shit that was made up.
So if you're speaking with an accent or ebonics, I do it myself. It was just, I was raised in a goddamn trailer park. I got all kinds of, and I take and borrow slang from all different kinds of cultures and races. I think it's fun. I still use groovy. I still use dog. I pick and choose what I want. You can't help how people judge you, based off of, how you present yourself. You can't really help that. But what we should try to avoid is reinforcing this idea that you can pinpoint a person's intelligence or the value of their culture or the value of their race strictly from how they speak.
Federal court case about this in the 70s, where Judge Charles W. Joyner issued a decision that said that the school district must develop a program to assist students who spoke black English, due to many things including students incorrectly being labeled handicapped. And while there was no evidence of intentional discrimination, the lack of the teacher's effort to account for the fact that not everyone speaks English in the same way affected the children's self-confidence and ability to learn. So the author conducts a study where the students, all black girls by the way, are to read 2 sentences and then draw a picture of who they think said it in which way, and then give their thoughts about the speakers of those sentences. For example, something like people be thinking teenagers don't know nothing, as opposed to teenagers know more than people think they do. Now, despite the fact that you could understand what the fuck I just said either way, the students put language B, the second one, as being smart and good, while language A was ghetto, thug, disrespectful, they skipped school. Mind you, nothing about the way that you say a sentence determines whether or not you're going to be a thug or skip school. And the failure to ensure that black students understand that just because they say something differently does not mean that they're bad or that they're incorrect in saying is exactly what
it's almost like the broken windows theory, but in linguistics, right?
this entire study and book that neither of you bothered to fucking look up is about. As a proposed solution, the author does a lesson plan where they have students watch The Hate U Give and then ask and respond to these questions. You can read them if you want. This is not indoctrination or woke left. I literally watched The Hate U Give my freshman year of high school. So no, citing your sources or saying however is not white supremacy. The fact that you can have two equally valid ways of saying something to somebody and conveying that information, but one can be viewed as academic and correct and the other one wrong, stupid, or unintelligent is the white supremacy part, because those distinctions were drawn along racial lines. This is why Yuval's content on this topic is so fucking profound, because he's been telling y'all, when y'all say it's not library, it's library, go back to the library and learn how to pronounce it, you are associating something that majority black people say with unintelligence, even though you fucking understood what they meant when they said library. But y'all won't keep that same energy when a British person says aluminium instead of aluminum, or when you say comfortable instead of comfortable, and he challenges your assumptions about the
English is so fucked.
way that you say everyday things that you don't even catch that you're saying wrong, but you have all this smoke when it comes to things that black people say. But you heard a teacher try to give an example by bringing up however or citing sources, and you just assumed that the woke left is telling you that saying however or citing sources is racist, without challenging your assumptions, which is the whole purpose of everything that was here. You guys heard something and then turned your brain off and made a reaction to it. She provided you the source, and you didn't even go seek it out, because fundamentally you're both reactionaries. You're not going to argue with the
see Davey, that's you're the mindset that these academics would like us to break through is this concept that we are saying anything wrong, right? Like if you want to choose to speak in that way, that's your choice, that's perfectly adequate, that's fine. But should you should you be turned away from a job because you're not speaking proper English, unless your job is working at the proper English factory? Okay, you know what I mean? That's the problem that we're seeing with this, and that's why academics are trying to bring it up, is because people are being disadvantaged. It's beyond their control. They were raised in their environment, and they speak the way that they speak. And that doesn't diminish the fact that they're human, that they have the ability to learn, that they could be given instructions. It doesn't change any of that. And that idea, it's almost like, it's kind of like a phrenology almost, right? This kind of like idea that you can tell a person's complete and total intelligence based purely off of how they speak. Sometimes you can. I mean, hey, y'all, he's like, sometimes, okay, sure, yeah. I mean, it's, like I said, it's a complicated kind of human thing. And there's so many examples of not just, as this person cited here, not just white people, but, black people from within their own community, having less self-esteem, thinking that they're not speaking well, as compared to their white counterparts, because of how they were taught to speak when they were raised. Salmon instead of salmon. Yeah, Bloved. Yeah, people are just gonna judge you no matter one way or the other. Both sides, right? Why should we try to make society better? Let's just give up. Hey, Bloved, are you voting Trump? I just want to know. Just make sure that I shouldn't. You seem comfortable in my chat, and if you're a Trump voter, you really shouldn't be. But you've sat through this whole video, so I'd be surprised if you were a Trump voter sitting through this entire video.
Literature and be like, no, actually, this language dialectical problem comes about because biologically, they just aren't qualified to be considered a proper language. You only exist to say, look at that thing that they're saying, it's dumb and it doesn't make sense. Because think about it, really? Saying this is racist? It's like conversating with children. In conclusion, if you take nothing away from this video, she looks this incredulous because someone dare asked her to think.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, I think a fair criticism of her delivery, we do need standards when it comes to language. Sure. Those standards should not be around racial lines and, and that kind of thing. Those whatever standards placed on language in general need to just be for the sake of communication. It should not be for the sake of segregation. And that's what academics are trying to say, is that this is kind of a form of segregation. This, in some cases, reflexive judgment, and it happens to white people too. I know a farmer who he speaks really slowly, and he's very deliberate in what he says, and you would think he's a simpleton if you took him out of his element, but he is easily the biggest encyclopedia of farming techniques and farming in general that you could get. He is a college level professor when it comes to his profession, and the way that he speaks and maybe even the language that he uses, how he pronounces certain words, taken out of his context, you would think he's a simpleton moron who can barely put his shoes on. And that is a form of discrimination. Just because he's pronouncing a word differently or speaking in a manner that is not the way that I was raised. That's a form of prejudice. But I will say this, the delivery, I mean, listen to how this woman delivers this message, right? She says, woo, like, woo, 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 like racist alert.
Teach high school English, and whoo, the white supremacy runs deep. What do I mean by
the white supremacy runs deep? And then this fella here who's incredibly intelligent. I loved it, but some of his digs over here, I get it. The only thing I can criticize is how this message is being delivered. But he's 100% correct in exactly what he's saying. It's a little harsh, serving some hash browns. But who am I to judge about serving out them hash browns? That's what I do 24/7. So, but I will say, the way that she opened up, kind of, does a disservice to what academics are trying to achieve with this, with CRT and other things, trying to unwind racial bias. Woo, so much white supremacy. It's like I know that's kind of diminishes the work of some of these scholars. He uses the F word. I can't judge anybody for swearing too much. Who am I kidding? I know guys the opposite. He speaks so fast in a weird accent, it's hard to understand, but he's still smart AF. Yeah. All right. So I hope you enjoyed that. Moving on. I'm sorry we got a Midas touch. Goddamn Midas touch over here. But, they're holding the right accountable, which is ironic because during the Bush administration, there wasn't organizations like Midas Touch over here were like, there wasn't a war that they didn't love more. So Bloved, I noticed you didn't answer my question, buddy. Did you just leave in a huff? Oh, he left in a huff, didn't he? Oh no. Bloved, are you still here, buddy? You going to tell us who you're going to vote for? Texas Republicans. I don't know. Some work at these scholars seems a bit. Yeah. So Bloved. It's you had time to inject the gaslight a little bit about these scholars over here, right? They don't know what the academics, right? I'd rather listen to a failed disgusting nepotism case that lied his way into political office. Certainly they know more than academics, right? So who are you gonna vote for, you fuckhead? You wanna tell us? You wanna tell us who you're voting for? Who we voting for? Slick. Mr. Gaslighter, Mr. Inject, never afraid to inject some doubt. You're gonna go with the fascist, right? No, we just got crickets over here. He's quick on the keyboard. I'm non-American. Okay, great. Well, if you're non-American, then maybe I'll just give you a timeout here. There we go. Because I don't really need your uninformed gaslighting. I don't know about these academics. They're kind of useless. That's cool. I like it. All right. I don't have time for non-Americans injecting doubt into the discussion of systemic racism in America. I really don't. So Texas Republicans called for execution of women who receive abortions, IVF, and horrifying videos. So, just going back to what I'm talking about, how, this is not going to fundamentally change, your life, society. This is not going to get to you. Oh, you're being so hyperbolic talking about making interracial marriage illegal. Oh, you're so crazy. Why would you say that? There's no proof of that. There's no evidence. You're just being super woke liberal left over here screaming into the void, being so hyperbolic. Stick around. I got all these examples. Anti-non-American, anti-American. Look, you want to have a discussion, that's fine. You want to gaslight about, academics don't know anything, and okay, show me your sources then, right? Show me a better alternative to these eggheads that are digging into some of these problems and coming up with things like CRT. Like, I agree that they shouldn't, like, they're this is where politics and democracy comes in. It's not like every suggestion and every utterance needs to be respected and adhered to, like some kind of Scientology, right? Some kind of weird science, religion of science, no. There's plenty of room for, pushing back against, that's, okay. The scientists are saying this, but clearly society is not going to accept that, yada, yada. Need to find a compromise. But this idea that it's just we should just ignore what they're experts from academia and they just hand wave away literally everything that was said there, because that's he doesn't want to go point for point about what that person went through, with all the different sources and all the different things. He doesn't want to go point for point, and he just wants the whole process, the whole thing, throw it all away. Nulzen, yeah, you're correct. There are just old people running. That's correct. If you want to change that, I would recommend you going ahead and changing that. Please do that. And I'm not being flippant. Do that. Follow my 3-step program. Run for office. What's going to happen? You become popular. People know your name. You get to be on TV. Run for office. Get to it. Yeah, you, Pepe. Yeah. CRT can't go in. All right. So, to the people that think I'm being hyperbolic, well, let me show you something here. Okay. Where's the video? Sorry. Okay, I don't have the video. Whoops, wrong button. Another non-American, huh? Okay. All right. And what may be some of the most horrifying footage yet from the extreme forced birth movement that some people in our chat kind of agree with. Undercover video from Hood County. Texas Democrats Chair Adrienne Quinn Martin shows several Hood County Republican officials attending a presentation by Abolish Abortion Texas, a group that advocates for the death penalty for abortion and IVF, including for pregnant minors. So IVF, really, the death penalty for people who want help getting pregnant? The death penalty. For women who want to fulfill their Christian duty and pump out as much kids as possible. They just hate women, dog. They just hate women. This is about women hatred, jealousy or something. Some weird sex shit. Mommy doesn't love me anymore kind of shit. Hood County Constable Scott London, Hood County GOP Chair Steve Biggers, and Hood County GOP Chair candidate Greg Harrell are seen at a meeting featuring AATX hosted by the group True Texas Project, which has been labeled as an extremist group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Academia, right? And has ties to white nationalist Nick Fuentes. True Texas Project has hosted events with Ted Cruz and disgraced Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. So they attended the meeting. This is my problem with Midas Touch. This is like they're a rage factory. right? They're just as bad as BTC over here. Trump on the ropes. Trump, we got him. Trump destroyed. Oh, Trump dissolving in front of us. And then the reality is like, well, they were at a meeting. They were at a meeting of this extremist group, and that was being hosted by a larger group. So they were at a meeting with a bunch of other groups. They could say, well, we don't agree with that group, but we were here for this group. They do that all the time. It is a sign of it is a sign of exactly what I'm talking about, though. That these people that are pro death penalty or abortion, and they're not on the fringes. They're part of the discussion. That's part of the argument. Oh well, that's a little too far. That's a little too far. All right, well maybe we'll get you next season. Maybe we'll get you next election once we got Trump in there. Another interesting thing, though, about an autocratic dictatorship is that if you're going to get rid of the need for democracy, it's very likely the extremist voices in the room are going to be the ones in charge. And they'll be able to just enact this kind of stuff with fiat, through fiat, just kind of, I don't know what it's going to look like. I can't even imagine what it's going to look like when they've really removed those barriers. They're going to streamline, policy. They're going to streamline enacting a policy, But I don't know how they're going to do it. So it probably doesn't help to speculate. So we were watching Slavoj Žižek a couple days ago, and he fully agrees with Jordan Peterson about cancel culture, about the scourge of cancel culture. And I just wanted to show this, because I think this is Family Guy accidentally, because Family Guy is very hyperbolic when they're making fun of something. But I wanted to show this because I think in Slavoj Žižek's mind, this is what being canceled looks like. And you tell me, has this literally happened to any human being on planet Earth? What I'm about to show you.
Do not patronize this man! I found an insensitive post in his Twitter feed!
What? I would never!
He tweeted something very negative about Abbott Elementary.
I said it was hilarious!
But you didn't use all caps! You're canceled, mister!
I'll just gather my things.
Right? Does this happen? Like, I think, I don't think Family Guy, I don't think Seth MacFarlane was like making fun of, the right here. But when you hear Slavoj Žižek and Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan talk about cancel culture, this happens every single day across liberal cities everywhere. Careers being destroyed. And it's literally happened to nobody. I'm not saying the left doesn't get hyperbolic and that the left doesn't, sling shit around when it shouldn't be and should be focusing on other things. But why is the left like? Why are we being pulled around by the nose by these right-wing reactionary idiots who are not living in reality, dog? And I'm not saying Slavoj Žižek's right-wing, but it just shocked me to hear him basically emulate the language of Jordan Peterson, as if Jordan Peterson was totally on point about his hatred of cancel culture. How dare you? Whatever his comment, what did he say? What was that defiant thing that he said? Oh, you're never going to convince me. Indignantly standing there like he got frog marched out of the fucking coffee shop by a bunch of purple hairs. Welcome back, Rob. Happened to some, but it's not destroyed their careers. If anything, it's boosted it from the far right coming to the support. Yeah. I got sacked for displaying the wolf's angle on my desk. The wolf's angle, huh? You mean the wolf's angel? The Nazi thing? Oh, this thing, huh? This symbol? Is this what you're talking about? Right. And there it is. And there it is. Yeah. Gosh, they kicked you out? You got sacked for displaying a Nazi symbol on your desk? Oh, get it, guys? Get it? Get it? Bye. Bye, bitch. Pathetic. They're just pathetic. Where are we at? Oh, yeah, Fash update. Here we go. Welcome back, ROB. Can't even spell angel correctly. God, they're so pathetic. And they're winning. And they're neck and neck with Joe Biden. You know, they got oligarchs like Elon Musk, you know, grifting them and you know, leading them around. Good Easter. Oh, yeah, I forgot my trans flag here. They're so pathetic. God, they're pathetic. There it is. Trans Day. And you know? Trans Day. Russian bots need to learn how to type. Yeah, totally. I see cancel culture the way I view every surge in campus activism that's ever happened. The administration is more of a problem than the students. I'm about 50-50 on that. These race-based safe spaces gotta go. People of color should not be promoting segregation. I'm sorry. It's not a good look. It does not work. So these race-based safe spaces gotta go. They should replace this race-specific spaces with discussion spaces. Worst part is it does actually work. For what? How in the world does segregating encourage inclusion? I'm gonna need a lot. You're gonna have to give me that academic study on how the promotion of segregation is somehow creating more inclusion in society. That's a hard sell for me on that one. So yeah, I just got a couple little tidbits. Oh, I got a really funny video, actually. You guys are going to love the next video. But guys, did you know that Elon Musk is actually a blowhard? He actually doesn't know what he's talking about. He's been very lucky with his acquisition of Tesla and SpaceX and Neuralink, or whoever's doing Neuralink there. If you want to give him credit for anything, he knows what cool shit to buy that you know allows him to run his mouth. One look at his Twitter, one look at his social media in general, the things that he believes in, the things that he says. He is a right-wing oligarch, racist, misogynist, anti-gay, anti-worker, pro-fascist, wants that Trump government, coyly saying, I don't know who I'm going to vote for. Oh, I don't know. It's a toss-up. Meanwhile, putting interesting under some of the most extreme right-wing reactionaries on his platform. Anyway, Fidelity cuts value of Twitter stake, implying 73% decline in former Twitter since Elon Musk's takeover. I mean, some speculate that it's intentional. You know, some speculate that he's kind of aware that these changes are the enshittification of this platform, and that's okay. He wants to diminish its value as a tool of information, right? Because the truth has a left-wing bias. He wants to reduce the effectiveness of it being that and just turning it into a right-wing echo space, which has reduced value, but still has a, type of propaganda value, coasting off of this name for the next decade. I guess that flies in the face of he changed it. Maybe his ego is too big to control, and that goes against that. I don't know. I think honestly, I don't think it's that deep. I don't think it's like he's like scheming. I think that those are his politics, but I don't know. I think he's stupid enough to think that the changes that he's made to Twitter are somehow beneficial. But the reason why they're not working is because the deep state and the woke left are conspiring against him. Yeah, Lee Spanner. I think you're right. Should ban him from commenting publicly on politics, Davey. Yeah. Yeah, you're in a sticky situation when it's a really good idea to get a gag order on your CEO. You got a Papa John's pizza situation over here. Quiet. Don't talk about black people, Papa John. Black people shouldn't eat my pizzas. I don't know what Papa John actually said. But so I wanted to show you this video here. It's kind of long, but it's really funny. It's really great, and it just reinforces the delusion of Elon Musk, the failure of Elon Musk when he's actually in charge of a project. And I'm talking about the Cybertruck here. But when he's actually in charge of a project, how quickly it goes tits up. And quite frankly, I think society should be ashamed of itself for letting this Homer Simpson style character put something so dangerous on the roadways. And I'm talking about the Cybertruck. I think it's like, as Davey said, I think it's an extremely dangerous vehicle for the person driving it, and also for the people that are driving, next to it, civilians on the sidewalk. I think it's this isn't just a novelty like the DeLorean. I think it's a legitimately dangerous vehicle that is going to get drivers and passengers and innocent people killed. And you'll see what I'm talking about here.
Spreading Nazi conspiracy theories on Twitter before Elon.
Yeah, so this is the kind of shit that I'm talking about. So this is the kind of right-wing nonsense you see on Elon Musk's platform. You are witnessing the biggest act of cuckoldery in human history. An entire civilization willingly giving away its land and women because the alternative is to be mean. No lies detected, says the blue check who hands Elon Musk money for this little icon to be next to his name. Elon Musk over here saying accurate. If you're unsure what this narrative is, this is the might makes right argument. That we shouldn't be asking women for permission. We should be taking them. We're conquerors. We're sharks, right? I want you to picture the type of picture the last right-winger that you had a face-to-face argument with. Picture that person. I have a right to I'm a conqueror. I am an alpha male, and I take what I want from this world, and I crush my enemies. This ridiculous, alpha mega Chad. Don't mean to embarrass anybody in my Discord, but this absolutely ridiculous mentality of might makes right, that everything is justified if you have the power to take it. Davey over here making a great point, though. Yeah, yet some of these, that's exactly what I'm talking about, is that these characters, the Meal Team 6 over here, 350 pounds, talking about how they're owed a woman, how they're conquerors and alpha males, want to bow down to Russia and other dictators across the world. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Some of the biggest cowards in human society are right-wing conservatives. They've taken narcissism, they've taken selfishness and avarice and despicable behavior, and they've turned it into what they think are like positive personality traits. And Elon Musk over here, I don't know who I'm voting for. Maybe I'll vote Biden. I don't know. I want to get something very clear. Elon Musk thinks you are a fucking moron. And I'm talking to literally anyone with a human brain in their head. He thinks you're a tool to be manipulated, and he does so with the ease of a sociopath. Let's get into it. The Cybertruck is a deadly vehicle.
Elon Musk was busy spreading Nazi conspiracy theories on Twitter. He was hard at work designing the vehicle of the future, the Tesla Cybertruck, a cyberpunk-themed rolling stock laughing out of the Tesla factory. No, wait, the other way around.
Monorail.
Haters might say things like, it looks like a stupid boomer's idea of the future, or this is a horribly unsafe vehicle with sharp edges that isn't even good at being a pickup truck, but my god, is it a marvel of engineering. The Cybertruck is chock full of never-before-seen innovations coming from Musk himself, who promised to put a man on Mars by 2021. The windshield wiper. Tesla patented 2 revolutionary innovations for this. A horizontal-only electromagnetic wiper and one based on laser technology. Fast forward to release day and it's a regular wiper, but bigger. Elon Musk does it again.
A laser?
The exoskeleton body. It basically means the truck is cast as one big, single piece, and the side panels and the like are part of the car's actual load-bearing structure, as opposed to just hanging the panels on a unibody frame. This leads to a more durable structure and, most importantly, significantly lower weight, which is a huge deal with large electric pickups. An exoskeleton instead of a conventional unibody is one of the main innovations of the Cybertruck. Well, it was until they scrapped the idea and went back to a traditional unibody instead. Throttle House, a car-themed YouTube channel for divorced men, actually got to review the Cybertruck by driving it for 500 miles. Their video is concerning, to say the least, in terms of the details we learn about the Cybertruck. The headlights are pointing upward, blinding oncoming drivers instead of shining on the road. The rear camera stops working at night. When closing the door, the entire car vibrates.
Okay. Everything vibrates.
Yeah, everything vibrates.
We developed a new material. We called it vibranium.
The driver's field of view is a major hazard. The interior is very cheap and creaky. The ride is also rather bumpy. There are no gauges on the dashboard or stalks on the wheel, so you always have to look to the right at the touchscreen for everything. Wow. And then there is my personal favorite.
Wow.
What if I just do my fingers? Surely this will stop.
Oh, there's your fucking finger, dude.
Hold on, it gets better.
You got kids or somebody not paying attention? Dude.
Better.
4 carrots in one.
4 carrots.
Yeah. Which is a whole hand.
The human hand.
3. Yeah, definitely the hand of a child, but I think it would take off the fingers of a full-grown adult.
But wait, the car also has a vegetable peeler feature.
Oh my god.
Look at that. Razor sharp door panels.
Vegetable prep.
Now that's what I call quality engineering. All for the...
No, and folks, the reason why you don't do these things, because like people grab them, they hold them, they grab a hold of weird things. You bend that. There's a process to dull those edges so that you're not slicing your hand wide open.
Low price of $40,000 Tesla dollars, also known as $61,000 US dollars, for the plain base model. Oh, but who am I to judge an unexpected...
I didn't know these things were so damn cheap. You mean some of the 60,000? You can lots of lower class, middle class folks can afford $60,000 lease. Oh my God, it's so ugly. It literally looks like a PlayStation 1, like on that level, it's almost cool. It's so weird and so lame, and like it's almost cool if it was designed well, if it was taking advantage of this uniqueness. Hey, greetings from south of Boston. It's your boy Lenny. Yo, like and subscribe to Lenny, folks. Thank you, Lenny, for being here. Needs more polygons.
Expected 52.5% or $21,000 price increase. After all, Elon Musk knows more about manufacturing than anyone else on Earth.
At this point, I think I know more about manufacturing than anyone currently alive on Earth.
Which really showed during the 2023 third quarter investor call. The Cybertruck is also gigantic. You know those needlessly huge pickup trucks? The ones that in Europe only trashy yet affluent assholes drive? Yeah, those ones. Like the Ford F-150. This version is called Super Crew 5.5 Raptor because it's marketed towards divorced, middle-aged men who think they're a modern-day Clint Eastwood or something. They aren't. Look at how unnecessarily huge the F-150 is. This will surely attract their daughter's 17-year-old best friend. Well, the Cybertruck is even bigger bigger, 8 centimeters wider at 2.2 meters, which is half a meter wider than a regular car. And for this gargantuan size you get basically no storage space. Look at that, you can't even fit in a regular sized bicycle. On this pickup truck, it has about the same bed size as the Subaru Sambar, a micro truck compared to this 3-ton monstrosity. Also in terms of range, the Cybertruck is pretty disappointing. The guys at Throttle House managed to get 462 kilometers out of it on a full charge while driving it down from an elevation of 610 meters to sea level. So a pretty advantageous trip in terms of getting range out of your car. But their 462 kilometers is still 53 kilometers less than the advertised 515 kilometers range and 342 kilometers less than the original range promised by Musk back then, which was 804 kilometers or 500 miles. Yeah. That was the promised range for the type these guys got to try, which is the biggest, meanest version of the Cybertruck with the longest range, called the Cyber Beast. So named because Elon Musk himself is a divorced dad. Also, have you ever wondered why we don't build cars with untreated stainless steel exteriors? Would you like to guess why we put multiple protective layers on the metal panels covering our vehicles? Is it just for fun? Or is there something outside the showroom which warrants such protective layers?
This is how the woke do things.
Mr. Musk, Mr. Billionaire, Genius, Vibranium, Neuralink, Tesla, Mars, 420 Jewish question rocket man. May I present to you the concept of weather. So yeah, the Cybertruck is prone to rusting. As to how to prevent that, according to the official manual, immediately remove bird droppings, tree sap, grease, oil, tar, road salt and dead insects, otherwise they'll stay in your car. Do not use hot water during washing because it can stay in your car. Do not use certain car shampoos because they can stay in your car. And do not wash your car in direct sunlight because it can stay in your car. Unsurprisingly, multiple Cybertruck owners began reporting rusty stains on their vehicles almost immediately.
These things are going to look like shit in like a year.
Some of them after just 11 days. But hey, thankfully Tesla can put a protective layer on your Cybertruck after all. That would be $5,000 extra, please.
What the fucking
If this video so far has convinced you to buy a Cybertruck, first off, I'm sure your caretaker will love hearing all about your little plans. Second, get ready for an apparent wait time of 13 years. Because according to Tesla, 2 million people put down a deposit, with the current rate of production being about 150,000 Cybertrucks per year. Theoretically anyway. Now to be fair, the rate will increase to a maximum of 250,000 per year according to Musk. If they could magically get to that number tomorrow, that would mean a mere 8-year wait time for your Cybertruck if you put down the money today.
At this point, I think I know more about manufacturing than anyone currently alive on Earth.
But aside from the ridiculous engineering, the disastrous tech solutions, and the fact that the vehicle looks extremely stupid, the Cybertruck has a bigger, more fundamental issue. Namely, who is this thing really for? Who are the target consumer group? The Peugeot 308 is for regular people who want to get around. The Cadillac Escalade is for people terrified of minorities. The Dodge Ram and the Ford F-150 are for divorced dads fantasizing about their daughter's underage best friend. The Cybertruck? Let's see. A $61,000 to $100,000 pickup truck marketed with nuclear explosion resistant windows, wait, never mind, and steel side panels that can stop arrows and also bullets, all wrapped in a weird, cringy, nerdy science fiction aesthetic. So your target buyer is someone who is affluent, a sci-fi nerd, and a doomsday prepper. And so, question, how many affluent sci-fi nerd doomsday preppers have you met before? I'm sure there are some, but does this demographic warrant taking 4 years of development time away from Tesla and occupying production lines to churn out Cybertrucks instead of regular models? Tesla's latest model, the Model Y, is now half a decade old. Why not focus on that and the others instead? The cars people actually want, as opposed to a PlayStation 1 game vehicle for tech fetishist dipshits with too much disposable income. I think I know the reason why. The whole Cybertruck affair screams Elon Musk pet project to me. Namely, Musk just showed up one day to the office and was like, here's this thing I drew on toilet paper. Now make it into a epic sci-fi truck. Also, I ripped out this sink while tripping on ketamine. You'll have to fix that too. And so the engineers got on the job, having to work within the limitations of Musk's stupid idea, unable to change the car fundamentally. If this was indeed the case, it would explain all the stupid solutions within and without. Borderline hazardous driver's field of view cannot be fixed. The boss wants this exact car shape. Gauges behind the steering wheel for quick and safe information access? Nope, sorry. The boss wants just one big screen on the dashboard. Sure, putting untreated stainless steel panels on a vehicle is a very impractical idea, and fitting them together correctly is basically impossible, plus you have to wipe your entire car constantly with window cleaner apparently, otherwise it'll get stained, but Elon Musk said stainless steel panels, so it has to be that way. By the way, the Cybertruck steel panels aren't even bulletproof. I know this because Aiden Ross tried shooting at it. Aiden Ross is a Cybertruck owner, as if the car needed any more bad press. If you don't know who Aiden Ross is, good for you.
Twitch first.
Can't even watch this.
Obviously, I'm talking.
You know girls don't like big dicks, right?
Shut up and listen.
Can't even.
So they shot at his Cybertruck and, surprise, it's not actually bulletproof. The steel just breaks under the impact and collapses inward.
It's probably already broken. No, it wasn't, dude. It was not already broken, bro.
Shatter.
Yo, Elon, I need a new truck, please, bro. No, straight up. Elon, listen, bro. Please, I need a new truck. Elon, please, I need a new truck, bro.
So, okay, the Cybertruck might not be the best vehicle in terms of all of its characteristics, but at least it has a cool camping setup, right? The Cybertruck base camp. Wow, that place looks totally like the one Star Wars planet with the big trees, where they did the speeder chase thing. With the base camp, you'll feel like a galactic pioneer, camping on strange new worlds or something. In your sleek, angular sci-fi tent, here's what the base camp actually looks like. Congratulations, your Cybertruck has a butthole now, for the low price of $3,000. Do you have any idea what kind of a tent you can buy for $3,000? Practically a pop-up house. Why not buy that instead and carry it on the bed of your, pickup truck? With that, let's talk about the overarching ideology behind the Cybertruck. It's an ultra-expensive doomsday vehicle with sharp, hazardous angles, massive weight, and lights that blind everyone else who isn't driving a literal tank on the road. As Musk himself put it, if you are in an argument with another car, you will win. And so, a core part of the cyberpunk genre on which the Cybertruck is based is it being set in a dystopian, high-tech future where the rich are above the law, corporations are more powerful than governments, and anyone not part of the ruling class is left to fend for themselves. The Cybertruck matches this dystopian way of thinking rather well. It is fundamentally designed for one thing and one thing only: to overpower and bull over everyone else on the road. Regular people who cannot afford $100,000 armored monstrosities to keep them safe from those who can. This is the future Elon Musk wants. The future we're headed towards right now, unless we come up with an alternative. What a disaster. There are almost no positives about the Cybertruck. Even the Throttle House guys seemingly had to invent reasons to like it to try and cram more positive things into their video.
And the backseat passengers get to enjoy YouTube, Netflix, Twitch.
Yeah.
And so do we. And that was and that's not new to this car.
No.
Obviously even like other Teslas like the Model S have it, but
it works really well.
It's just fun.
It's easy, it's bright, it's sharp, it's
yeah, a $50 Android tablet works pretty well too.
Quick to respond, it does what you want.
Wow, the screens, they're high resolution and you can touch them and they react. Functioning touchscreens in a $100,000 car. We're definitely putting that in our review.
Cool.
In their end summary, the only positives they could say about the Cybertruck is that it handles well, that people look at it, it's fun to kick it, and that it's cool how Tesla had the balls to make something this stupid to begin with. What a perfect indictment of this stainless steel trash fire. At this point, the most entertaining thing about the Cybertruck is watching Tesla fanboys struggle with the sunk cost fallacy. Doing their best to pretend that the vehicle they shelled out $61,000 to $100,000 for is not a badly designed, ridiculous-looking, low-quality piece of shit. From a man currently spreading the Great Replacement Nazi conspiracy theory on his failing social media platform.
Yeah. Great points. Adam something, 1.8 million subscribers, folks. Make sure you're liking and subscribing. Great content. Does a really great job calling out the Hyperloop, calling out Elon's lies on various levels here. Does some really great content, so make sure you're liking and subscribing to that, folks. Hope you enjoyed that video. Moving on to our next example of the kind of life that we can expect when right-wingers are in charge of our lives, and that's exactly what they want. They don't care about our opinions. They want us to shut up. They know better. Well, Missouri School District announces the return of corporal punishment for students through paddle use. So now they not only do they want to inspect your child's genitals, now they want to physically abuse your children. I was physically abused in this way when I was a child, and I can tell you one thing: it doesn't work. It doesn't make you behave more. Would you believe it does the opposite? And so you want Mr. Mr. Tons of Love over here paddling your daughter, huh? You don't think there's any kind of conflict of interest happening here? You don't think he really likes doing it for some reason? No, it's okay. You go ahead and paddle my daughter's ass, sir. Because I believe in liberty. Nothing's going to fundamentally change. Biden or Trump? Biden wants to do this too, somehow, some way. I mean, Biden wants to turn your kids into, a bunch of gay kids. So same thing. Biden wants to abuse kids too. So it's okay. The Salon article about the martyrdom of Donald J. Trump. I don't have time to read it, but if you want, I found it interesting. I don't have time to read it to you. I read about maybe half of it, but it's just about the hypocrisy of the religious Christian right, and how they treat Donald Trump like he's like a bludgeon. He's a weapon, for their goals, and of course he stands against everything they technically believe in, but that doesn't matter. They think that they're going to get exactly what they want. What religious people don't understand is that once, and I've said this before just today, but once these people like Trump, these authoritarians, they get rid of the need for democracy, they get rid of those democratic levers that are able to question their power, they're going to throw away the Christian right like garbage. I want restrictions on this. I want restrictions on that. There's more money in private abortion clinics than there is in banning abortion. Did you know that? I can make a lot of money. The Planned Parenthood gave me a half a $1,000,000 donation. And all of a sudden I'm kind of thinking, what's so wrong with abortion? I think that the religious right is kind of unaware of just how quickly their thoughts, their concerns will be thrown away and replaced with a full-blown hedonistic society. Remember, this is a very pedophilic party. They want to lower the age of consent. They want to lower the age that you're allowed to marry children. They want to, like I said, inspect your kids' genitals, and they want to spank their little red bottoms. This is the party that believes in the extreme exploitation, the hedonistic desires of your average right-wing Republican would shock you. Look at what they advocate for. What am I supposed to call a person that is vocally advocating for lowering the age of consent other than a pedophile? I want to, F young kids is what they're saying. And I'm how dare you call him a pedophile? It's their culture. And they want to go lower than 16, folks. I've shown examples of right-wingers talking about lowering the age of consent to 14. And do you think it stops there? I am talking extreme exploitation, extreme hedonistic behavior that is going to be thrust upon, strip clubs and all that kind of stuff. Once the barriers are removed and once the usefulness of this religious entity is used up, and these authoritarians are fully installed in power, and they're no longer, they're not going to. No, there's more money. There's more money in exploitation, and especially in sexual exploitation. 50-50, Dakota. Milo got canceled for exactly this. He was the darling of the right back in 2015. And the only reason he's not been allowed back into the fold is because he's gay. If he wasn't so flamin', They'd happily let him back in, like a Matt Gaetz character. Anyway, I'm not going to belabor the point. They're hypocrites. Duh. News at 11. But much like how executives don't see their own death from AI coming, the religious right does not see just how quickly that they're going to be thrown aside once they ironically get everything that they want. They're going to get everything that they want, and it's going to be a total disaster for people who are legitimately religious. So this is actually a little bit of good news. This kind of supports Davey has talked about this, that, you know, hey, the Republicans, it looks bad. The polls, you can't really trust the polls right now because it's early. In reality, there's going to be a lot more right-wingers that are sitting this out or maybe vote against Donald Trump. I don't believe that exists. I think if any of the right-wingers disagree with Trump, they're just not going to vote. They're not going to vote for Joe Biden. I think we'll get more of that than we did last year with Hillary. Like, there was like a 99.9% chance that no Republican was going to vote Hillary. She's a woman. She's shrill in her own way. She's annoying. She's corrupt. She's arrogant. People on the left hate her just as much as the people on the right. But Joe Biden, I don't know. There is a type of Republican, you know, who, you know, emulates Mitt Romney, we'll say, that maybe that might flip. We might get a couple, they might see more of that. Likelihood, though, is that guy's just going to sit it out and tell all, and just like, oh yeah, I voted Trump, but he didn't really vote. And, you know, come on. But this kind of supports this argument that the Republicans are actually going to completely fail, and that Joe Biden is, you know, very likely to win. I don't believe that. I can't believe that because of what happened with Hillary Clinton and Trump. I simply can't believe this narrative. But I'm not going to sit here and deny, and I've shown these examples, that there is, you know, some of these early elections, some of these preliminary elections showing, like, it's like Brexit and the Tories right now. You know what I mean? There is some evidence to say, oh, there's a parallel. People are sick of it. And we're seeing in hardcore red districts, right? Bright red districts, upsets. Or you know, results that don't reflect what people were expecting. Joe Biden is basically a traditional Reagan Republican. No, I would say he's a George Bush Republican, not a Reagan Republican. He's a George Bush Republican. Yeah, I mean, even his support of unions is a fucking sham.
Well, I am so excited to get down to Montgomery, and I think this is a giant step forward for Alabama. I think it's a victory tonight for women, for families, for Alabama.
Abortion was a big part of this victory, was women standing up and saying enough is enough. Especially the IVF stuff. I really don't get the IVF stuff. Death penalty for the abortion, I mean, I don't agree with it, of course. I think it's ridiculous. But that makes some sense, right? Because if you believe the whole getting an abortion is killing a kid, okay, there's a logical conclusion there. IVF, death penalty for the IVF? What are you talking about? In vitro and fertilization? That's like super Christian, is to, like, I guess it's like, it could be spun as a super Christian thing. You know, like, look at the gift from God that we got, you know, and let's give this gift to all these women that even, you know, they couldn't have a baby then, but now they can, you know, thank God, you know. It's like, it could easily be spun into a pro-religious thing. It's so, like, it's like that gives up the game, that this is about hate, that this is about control over women, that this is not about, you know, adhering, you know, staying a principled stance on a religious dogma.
In general, I want to get down there and repeal the bad ban on no exceptions abortion. I want to protect IVF and contraception, but I also want to be a champion for health care, mental health care, but health care in general. I really feel like we need somebody down in Montgomery who understands mental health issues, and I'm that one.
Hey, good job. Congratulations. I mean, of course, she's probably, DNC supporting Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem Jeffries supporting neoliberal, but better than an authoritarian fascist. Welcome back, Mike Strayer Mike. Welcome back. Recognize that name, I think. So John Eastman disbarred. That's some good news. I'll take it. Got a report on it. John Eastman is the lawyer that was vehemently convincing and anyone who would listen to him that it was totally legit and totally okay for the president to steal the election, and for the president to, to just tell the vice president, oh, well, just don't certify the election. That's all he has. This one weird life hack. This one legal workaround so you don't get pulled over anymore. All you need to do is tell the cop that you don't believe in the Constitution. And then you're no longer beholden to the law, guys. So this sovereign citizen style justification for stealing the election. John Eastman was the legal cover for that. He was supposed to be the lawyer coming up with all these brilliant legal theories. Well, he just was just disbarred because of his because of his lies. But I mean, why did this take so long? Why does this taking so long? I'll take it. So Ron Flipowski over here from the Lincoln Project. Ugh. The one hack all newly presidents hate. Yeah, right. One workaround. And it's interesting to me that this is even being defended, because say the Supreme Court, everyone agrees with Trump, right? And then all the Mitch McConnell judges that were installed and all the Supreme Court right-wingers, they all agree. They set this precedent. Couldn't Joe Biden steal the election if he loses then? Get Kamala Harris to not certify the election? Oh, not for them. That's no. I wanted the other dictator. I didn't want this. Trump over here making an argument in court that he can assassinate his political opponents, and as long as he's not impeached for it, it's all good. He wants to set that precedent in court while his political opponent is in office. So go ahead and set a legal precedent that says American presidents can assassinate their political opponents while your political opponent is in office. Well, wait a minute, no, not me. I was going to use those powers on you later once you let me win the election. You're not supposed to assassinate me. It's unfair. I wanted a dictator. All right, moving on to the next. Republican House majority in peril after yet another congressman announces resignation. So if you haven't been paying attention, a couple weeks ago, I think I reported on this guy leaving, but Rep. Mike Gallagher will resign from his position next month and leave Republicans' House majority hanging by a thread, according to his press team report. So hanging by a thread, they mean they got one majority. They got 1 point. What that basically means is that the extremist elements of the Republican Party now have even more leverage because they only have a 1 vote majority over the Democrats. So that would basically mean if 2 more Republicans leave, if 2 more Republicans retire, then the Democrats will have a majority. Because they stepped down, at least the way that this guy stepped down, he stepped down and they have to wait till the next election to fill his seat. So it's just an empty seat there. Maybe something different might be happening. There might be some kind of emergency election. I think there was a rule changed. Let's get into it. Gallagher, 40, made the unusual midterm announcement Friday where he disclosed his last serving Wisconsin's 8th congressional district would be the 19th of April. Blah, blah, blah. He said some bullshit. Oh, conversations with his family, guys. It's all about his family. La, 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 la. He's sick and tired of having to deal with Marjorie Taylor Greene and the extremists. Like, as effective as they are, it's beyond annoying. You know, it's much better being a corrupt politician when it's just you versus the other guys. But when you can't even take one step forward without your entire, the guys that are supposed to be backing you up fighting amongst themselves, it's just no fun. Just no fun. And you can make a lot more money. He's already had 4 years in, so you can make a lot more money in the private sector corrupting politics from the outside. So you don't have to deal with the bullshit. You get more power. You get more money. So yeah, no wonder he's running to the exit as soon as possible. Blah blah blah. Left his early resignation. News outlet gonna blow to Speaker Mike Johnson. Yep. Mike Johnson, who by the way walks free, being a January 6th coup plotter. I know I mentioned that before today, sorry, which could spell trouble for Democrats unite together. So this is just the numbers. Chairman, select committee, Chinese comedy, visual group. Gallagher, chairman of the select committee investigating the Chinese Communist Party, has reportedly grown frustrated with Republican antics that include the impeachment of Homeland Security Secretary and Alejandro Mayorkas, NBC reports. Yeah, I mean, so it's interesting that he's citing these as his reason. I mean, this is the bread and butter of Republican politics nowadays, is sham investigations, and then they talk up a big game. But I guess it was more fun with Clinton when you had real dirt, when you had some really salacious stuff, and they won. They successfully impeached Clinton. But I guess it's just not as fun when you're dealing with Alex Jones level information sourcing, baseless accusations that are literally baseless, that literally lead nowhere and just make you look like a reactionary asshole. Blah 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 blah. What I'm looking for is the re-election. I'm pretty sure it leaves the seat open until the end of the year, when there would be a normal election. Imagine not only leaving Republicans with a 1-seat majority, but also your last vote in Congress being in favor of a $1.2 trillion omnibus. Snapped James Reichard. You will not be missed. By the way, if they didn't pass this bill, it would destroy the U.S. dollar, destroying one of the most important elements to the American empire's power across the world. So Mr. James Reichard over here is shaming this politician for voting to keep America solvent, to keep the dollar solvent, to keep America in the seat of power. And James Reichard has a problem with that because he's a patriot. It's funny. If you were to talk to a leftist, he'd be like, yeah, great. Thanks, James. Yeah. Let's destroy this capitalist nightmare in America. Let's destroy the dollar. Crush the dollar. Yeah. Make it insolvent. It's exactly what the commies want, James. I'm doing it for America. Ho sheep. As long as people accept the dollar, it's solvent. How much have y'all given away this Easter? I'm giving away shit. God is dead, dude. Didn't you get the motherfucking notice? God is dead. We killed him. Do I need to show you a picture of Donald Trump to prove my theory? Look, God is dead. Look, I approve. Look, see this? God is dead. See this image? Need I say more? There is no God here.
Donald Trump.
There is no God here. Are you giving away shit? I love and bless Donald Lightbringer Trump. Yeah, I'm giving away all kinds of shit. Handing it out. Trump, TikTok, Truth Social, and their lies to a billionaire GOP mega donor. So there's, I wanted to show this because there's, in the news there have been. Oh, Dakota, we don't have time for that. Mobster with a bad tan. Did they release a Seventh God is Not Dead movie already? Another Left Behind. Oh no, they have a series called God Is Not Dead, right? You're right. Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about. So there's been some scuttlebutt. A billionaire bailed Truth Social out, basically, overvalued. James O'Leary, Kevin O'Leary, I mean, doesn't have a single problem with this, I'm sure. Wildly overvalued Trump's Truth Social social media application, valuing it at like $3 billion or higher. So everyone's kind of waiting for the pump and dump to happen. I'm shocked he hasn't dumped it already. The value is already going down. But I thought I would give you a little information of the oligarchs that are doing this, that are buttressing Donald Trump. And yeah, we still might see foreign interference, foreign governments, foreign entities bailing Donald Trump out. Imagine the absurdity of that. Russia bailing out Donald Trump, and then he becomes president. God help us all. Oh, wait, sorry, forgot. He did.
In a couple of days, Donald Trump faces a critical and expensive deadline. On Monday, New York Attorney General Letitia James will be in a position to begin collecting on the roughly $500 million penalty that the former president...
Yeah, so Poe Sheep, literally calling yourself sheep. That's adorable. So Trump is innocent of literally everything. The dozens and dozens of documented crimes, the eyewitness statements, the mountains of evidence. Is Trump guilty of anything, Mr. Sheep?
Owes New York State after last month's judgment against him in his civil fraud trial. That could mean seizure of some of Trump's most prized properties if the former president is not able to put up either the money or a financial guarantee while he continues to appeal that case. It looked like that's where things were headed after his lawyers submitted a court filing this week saying that their client could not find an insurance company to underwrite a bond for the massive penalty. But early yesterday morning, the former president appeared to undercut his lawyers, claiming in a post on Truth Social that, quote, through hard work, talent, and luck, I currently have almost $500 million in cash. Then just hours.
Please tell me you're not unironically calling him Lightbringer. Please tell me you're not doing that. I think it's kind of funny that, all this is kind of a couple days old, right? So he got bailed out, right? At the 11th second, at the last second, the appellate court said, "Oh, well, you're so rich, and oh, poor guy. You broke the law so hard. You defrauded everyone so hard that you can't even get a surety bond. Oh, poor fella. Here you go. Here you go." Poe Sheep, your Lightbringer wears adult diapers because of his drug addiction from the 80s. Also, Mr. Holy, Mr. Lightbringer, what is he on his third divorce? He's on his third wife. So holy, but you don't need to be told he's a hypocrite, right? You don't care about that stuff. We've actually already covered you and your disgusting excuses, the religious right. We don't really need to go back to that.
Almost $500 million in cash. Then, just hours after that post, shareholders of a company called Digital World Acquisition Corp. voted to merge with the Trump Media and Technology Group, which owns the social media platform Truth Social. The newly emerged company will likely go public next week, a move that could result in a massive financial windfall of over $3 billion for the former president. Trump won't be able to take out any of that money in time to pay the penalty that he owes in New York, but it offers him a lifeline at a vulnerable time, and I'll explain how in a minute. That merger between Trump Social's parent company and Digital World Acquisitions was 2.5 years in the making. But there's a story to be told that provides some important context to Trump's current situation. And it involves TikTok, a conservative PAC, and a really rich man named Jeffrey Yass. Yass is the Pennsylvania billionaire owner of the financial firm Susquehanna International Group. He's a conservative mega donor and a major investor who has a $33 billion stake in ByteDance, the Chinese parent company that owns TikTok. Keep that in mind.
Okay.
Reuters identified Yas as the top donor of this election season, having donated, quote, more than $46 million to Republican causes so far in the 2024 election cycle. Data from political donations tracker Open Secrets shows. That includes donations to 4 of Trump's Republican primary opponents, Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, Tim Scott, and even Chris Christie, who's a prominent Trump critic. But notably, Yas has not given any money to the former president himself. Yas is also a major donor to the conservative nonprofit group Club for Growth. In 2023 alone, Yas gave $16 million to the Political Action Committee affiliated with the Club for Growth. And as NBC News points out, quote, the organization and its related groups have also worked hard to mobilize opposition to a TikTok ban on Capitol Hill. It was through Club for Growth that Trump and Yas recently got acquainted. And this is where things began to catch the critics' attention. Trump had a falling out with Club for Growth during the 2022 midterms. The two camps split on whom to support in some key races. But earlier this year, they mended fences with a little help from Yas, who was one of the people who reached out to the former president about attending Club for Growth's retreat this year. So on March 1st, Donald Trump accepted the invitation and attended the group's retreat in Palm Beach. He even gave a speech at the gathering, during which he gave Yas a shout-out, calling the billionaire, quote, fantastic. Then, 6 days later, on March 7th, Trump suddenly announced that he'd changed his mind about TikTok and came out against banning it, just as bipartisan efforts to force ByteDance to divest from TikTok were gaining steam in the House of Representatives. This was a significant reversal, especially considering that in 2020, while he was still president...
For the record, if anyone's curious, I don't support a TikTok ban. I would just support transparency on TikTok, just to let us know where TikTok is getting its funding from.
Donald Trump signed an executive order that stated, quote, the United States must take aggressive action against the owners of TikTok to protect our national security, end quote. Trump's flip-flop on TikTok was baffling, even among his allies and supporters. Steve Bannon, who served in the Trump administration, suggested that Trump changed his stance for, quote, the Yas coin, an apparent insinuation that Jeff Yas had some influence over the GOP nominee. Trump, however, batted those accusations away.
Mr. President, you met recently with Jeff Yas, who's a hedge fund manager, has a stake in TikTok. He's a huge GOP donor. Steve Bannon has suggested that you've been paid off to switch your view. How did your view change? How did that come about? And did you have a conversation with Jeff Yas about it?
No, I didn't. I met with him very briefly. I made a speech, and I said hello to him and his wife, who's lovely. It was a meeting that lasted for a few minutes. No, the only one I met was I met them both, and you know, I don't think I ever met him before, but he never mentioned TikTok.
That brings us back to yesterday's merger between Digital World Acquisitions and the Trump Media and Technology Group. This is a huge development as the embattled ex-president continues to face a litany of ongoing legal and political issues. But Trump's recent association with Yas is important to note because as the
It's also interesting to see that there's definitely still a disagreement with the extremist ultra MAGA elements of Steve Bannon and him. Because that's not going to get you in Trump's administration. Baseless accusations or accusations that make you look bad. I don't think they're baseless. Actually, I take that back. But you know what I mean. Accusations at all. That's not going to get you close to Trump. So it's very interesting. Steve Bannon is very, very, very pro-Trump, but maybe there will be that that kind of separation between some of the more extremist elements. Only because they don't know how to, flagellate Trump's ego the way that he would prefer.
Philadelphia Inquirer reports, quote, Jeffrey Yas's firm was the largest institutional shareholder as of December in the company that has merged with Truth Social. Susquehanna has held the stock in Digital World Acquisitions Corp. since the merger between Digital World Acquisition Corp. and Trump Media was first announced in October of 2021.
Yeah, so there you go. Just a little extra information. Go figure. It's not. It's not like Truth Social is a hot commodity. It's corruption. So there's a little information about that. So this is pretty funny. I think I brought this up a couple days ago, just because it came up in conversation. But these the right wingers that are insisting that they have total authoritarian control over our lives don't actually know what they're doing, believe it or not. Would you believe that these extremist reactionaries are not very good at creating policy that makes people's lives better? Crazy. Then give him a pardon if Trump gets in again. Ben, make it a position. I don't think so, because and it'll go back to things like this, because Trump is narcissistic to a fault. Trump is not willing to put his ego aside to put somebody in charge that will actually further his goals. You know what I mean? If that person is the most competent person and able to achieve Trump's goals, but is not Essen Trump's D, then Trump will happily put someone who's less competent in charge, but is, a full-blown yes man for Trump. He's narcissistic to a fault. So I don't know. I don't know about that. That Bannon has it's a surefire job for Bannon. I don't know about that. Trump would blackmail Donald Trump Jr. if it meant protecting his power. Oh, yeah. You know that scene in Game of Thrones where that Stannis Baratheon, I think, Stannis there, he murders his own daughter to, because it's like blood magic and it makes his army powerful for the battle. Donald Trump would do that. He wouldn't even have a problem like Stannis Baratheon had a problem. He's like feeling all, guilty because I think he ends up losing the battle anyway. Trump wouldn't even feel bad. Be like, I'd do it again. What are you talking about? It's the right move. Trump Jr. should be proud. It'll be sacrificed for me. Trump Jr. should be happy. So back to what I'm talking about here. Nebraska town that effectively banned undocumented immigrants, unable to fully staff the plants that are the town's economic drivers. Get them dirty immigrants out of my house. Taking our jobs. No good American jobs being scooped up by the others. They're going to replace me. The alpha. The peak of evolution. I am an alpha male. Trump would do anything to stay in power. He might even commit murder. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Totally. They took our germs. So, I mean, that's just, I'm not going to belabor the point here. If you want to read more about this, right here. Good evening, Blue Brother. Back. Blues Brother. Absolutely love that movie. What's to say Trump hasn't already been involved in murder? I mean, it's very highly likely, right? But do we have proof, right? That's why I still call him a sexual assaulter and not a rapist. Because there's that little sliver of technically not a rapist that that, I don't know why I even bothered, worrying about what kind of reply I'm going to get from a bad actor right-winger. But, there's that little, well, technically he's not a rapist. Oh, see, you're a deep state. You're liar. It's like, now we're talking about my legitimacy instead of, it's just an easy way to move that goalpost and gaslight, Anyway. Reactionary extremists don't know how to make good policy, and they're gonna, they're gonna be so surprised, and of course, to save their own jobs, they will blame, this is because of Barack Obama, or this is because of, woke policies. This is Joe Biden's woke policies, a DEI. This is because black people were allowed to drive buses, and, we treated black people like human beings, and that's what you get. We got, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that's what happens when black people become part of your society. They somehow put white people in charge that make terrible policy decisions. That's just 1 + 1 = 2, guys. Referred to me as Blue Brother. My name originates from the movie. We're on a mission from God. We're on a mission from God. So,
we had been actively trying, and then we finally got.
Just like I said, this entire segment is just me showing proof to, you know, people say I'm hyperbolic. It's so funny, right on point, right? Oh, you're being paranoid. You're being paranoid. Trump's not gonna. He's gonna be a good dictator. Trump's gonna be the good dictator. 105 cars wrecked in that movie. Yeah, boy. They don't make them like they used to. They don't make them like they used to. They were all boats too. It's so great. All these just big old boats. But no, so these are just examples of 100% the right wing want to put a gun to your head and change your life, change your liberty, affect your liberty, take your liberty away, especially if you're a woman. Especially if you're a woman. These alpha mega chads, right? They know what's best for you broads, right? Texas abortion law means women has to continue pregnancy despite fatal anomaly. So this is the end result of they don't even care about their own religion, but they're using religion as a cynical tool. And in the mindset of a religious person, a woman has to put her own life at risk to keep a dead baby, or a baby that's, you know, that is not going to be a fully functioning adult, that is going to be, you know, likely going to die at birth, like 99% chance it's going to die at birth. Oh, well, 99% chance. Well, 1%. Oh, well, we can't do it. You know, what are we listening to? But, you know, and these decisions made by people that will never have to deal with the ramifications. You know, we got a bunch of guys, first of all, and of course there's a handful of women that are supporting this and that are politicians. But they're never going to be told by the doctor, "Oh yeah, no, well, okay, we have to wait until your life is, you know, till you're almost dead, and then okay, we'll do the abortion because I love God." Because I'm a right-wing extremist doctor. Well, I mean, no, even if the doctor isn't a right-wing extremist, they'll be sued. I'll lose my entire life. I'll lose my, you know, I trained for 15 years to be a doctor, and they're going to take away my license if I perform an abortion to save your life. The fascists will take your liberty away, and yes, it will affect your day-to-day life. Yeah. 13-year-old rape victim. So just another example here. A 13-year-old rape victim has baby amid confusion over state's abortion ban. 13-year-old, which is a shockingly common thing in the United States, especially in the South, especially in right-wing dominated areas. 13-year-olds are raped and impregnated. Welcome back, Father Dari. The right-wing fascist authoritarians want to tell a raped 13-year-old girl that she has to have the baby, that she has to become a mother. Of course, are these same right-wingers that are advocating for this, are they going to help this child raise another child? No. Bootstraps. I mean, sometimes they'll say some words. Oh, we got to do something. We got to do something. And then crickets. Of course, it's every time crickets. So we don't actually have we don't have any policies. We're not doing that. We're not enacting anything. Mental health. Oh no, fuck your mental health. Yeah, Blue Brother. Exactly. If you want to read the details of this horrific, it's happening across America. Any place that there's right-wing dominance because of the elimination of Roe v. Wade. And if you think if you want to be that jackass that says This is not going to be national. That this is not that California is going to miss this. That all these liberal areas that they'll have their own local abortion rules, so you could still get an abortion in California, etc. No. Federal abortion bans, federal IVF bans, federal multi-race marriage, mixed race marriages, bans. They don't have ideas. They don't have ideas, guys. Their only idea is to put chains around you, control you for your own good. And if you can't take your medicine, well, there's the camp. I mean, and now we're going into fantasy land. But I mean, it's just like, well, they don't take no for an answer. They're okay to use violence. They're shameless. Gee, what direction is this going to go in? They're just going to stop? Oh, this is beyond the pale. This is too despicable. We're just going to stop now. Yeah, we have all the power. There's not a system to stop us. But we're just going to stop because we're just out of the kindness of our heart. That's the bottom. We've hit our shame level. It's cope. That the people that, like literally, just like it sounds utterly ridiculous. Of course they're going to enforce this with violence. Thank you, Cadillac, for sticking around, and thank you, everyone else, for sticking around. Welcome back, Estonian. Cadillac over here saying, 20 years ago, my GF spent 3 days in agony with a dying clump of cells inside of her. I'm terribly sorry to hear that, because the closest hospital was Catholic and refused to provide care until she was on the brink of death. That's the future they want for all of America. Cadillac, would you believe it might even be worse, where if that mother gets that life-saving, at the last second life-saving procedure, she might get arrested for murder. I'm not even, man. I wish I was crazy, dude. The things coming out of my mouth sound completely bananas. Totally bananas. The Fifth Circuit, so moving on from women's rights. Still close to my heart, though. So far, our liberal am I up, but the most restrictive ones are even more way too restrictive. So, Blues Brothers, hopefully you're not basing that conclusion off of the lie that there are left-wing areas that are okay with partial birth abortions, or that are okay with final trimester abortions. That literally, I don't think that exists anywhere in the country. Where you can get into the final trimester, you got 1 month before before the baby pops, and you're like, yeah, kill it. So hopefully you're not basing that conclusion off of that lie. I see. They're going to donate $5 million plus. Oh, Navi won first major Counter-Strike. They're going to donate $5 million plus $5 million. Wow, $10 million from a Counter-Strike tournament. Go Ukraine! Go Ukraine! Yeah, boy. That's great news. Thanks for letting us know, Estonian. And congratulations to Navi. Donating $10 million to the Ukrainians. Boy, he better put up them receipts. Better put up them receipts. Which is the best solution. Legal up to 12 weeks. Yeah, I mean, I would let women. I would want to talk to a woman about where they were comfortable with that. Trimester. What week? That sounds about right. I think 12 to 15 weeks, something like that. Happens quick, man. Tell you, I just had a kid. The whole process happened in a flash. She was like pregnant and then she wasn't. Crazy. Just like that. So moving on here, we're still at our asshole section, so let's not forget that. But you know, so the fifth, if you don't know, this is the No Underground Hip Hop. I thought I'd change it up. Change it up once in a while. I am getting sick of this though. Now that you mention it, I was literally thinking to myself, I'm kind of sick of this. All right, let's go back to this. So one of the wonky technical reasons why the right wing have been dominating politics for so long is that they have been participating in this decades-long campaign that we're finally seeing the fruits of installing partisan judges everywhere they can. You know, Mitch McConnell, like, you know, during the Trump administration, you know, he had a big laundry list. He like over 1,000. I think over 1,000 different appointments were made. I won't delete if we're talking about 10 or 15 weeks, but we agree on general German idea about it, don't we? I don't know. I would need to know more specifics about it, but I believe, you know, it's her body, her choice. Women have a right. But I don't agree with partial, you know, birth abortions or you know, super late final trimester abortions. You know, I'm okay with restrictions on that, you know. Don't let me change it. No, don't worry about it. I was getting sick of it. But one of the wonky technical reasons why we're seeing this right-wing dominance is because of the Fifth Circuit and other entities that are just rubber stamping right-wing right-wing politics as policy. Yeah, I totally disagree with Davey, but we're not going to get into it. You know, Davey, I guess, you know, Davey's going to have to keep his opinions to himself. What, until the wedding night? You know, you're going to have to lie to your significant other. You're going to have to lie to your girlfriend until years and years and years go by. If you want to keep that relationship, buddy, because I'm sure if the shoe were on the other foot, right? If men were being told by women what they had to do with their nutsack, right? Well, that's my nutsack too, right? If the baby was born in the nutsack, oh my God, what a nightmare! But it's like you're like a nut tree. You get like your testicles swell. It's like a cocoon. It's like a sack, right? The shoe were on the other foot, and women were like, well, you know, that's my baby too. That's my baby too. If that baby has a heartbeat, then you're not allowed to abort it. Do you really think men would be putting up with that? No, that's right. That's okay. Yeah, no, women should have ownership over a piece of my body. I'm okay with women having ownership over a piece of my body. I don't believe it for a fucking millisecond. So the only reason why we have men who feel like they can make decisions for women in their bodies is because they'll never have to deal with the trauma of childbirth. They'll never have to deal with the ramifications of their idea. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? And these are people that masquerade as pro-liberty, right? Pro-liberty, but oh, you were born a woman? Ooh. Well, there's some rights you don't have compared to me, a man. Sorry. That's my baby too. That's my womb. Winning opinions, guys. Sure to get you laid. Make sure you let your girlfriends know how you feel. I don't have time to read it, but if you want to, the Fifth Circuit, especially, which I believe in Texas, has been solely responsible for the last, I think, 2 decades for some of the worst right-wing, choices and decisions. What we see is corrupt people try to get their case tried or seen by the Fifth Circuit of Appeals because they know the Fifth Circuit is going to be right wing and side with them. This is how they're winning. This is how they're winning. So I think Dick Cheney's shocking warning. Yeah, so Dick Cheney, literally the scientist that has created the monster called Frankenstein, who has lost control of the right-wing party, lost control, Karl Rove and him, and they've lost control of the monster they've created. Oh, and now they got a big problem, guys. You're not supposed to do fascism this way. You're supposed to do it our way, the neocon way. Be sensible, guys. But Dick Cheney here, Dick Cheney saying, shocking warning to America, there's never been an individual as great a threat to our republic than Donald Trump. Yeah, he's 100% correct. Cheney said he tried to steal the last election using lies and violence to keep himself in power, just like George Bush did in 2000, dog. You and George were totally down for that. Remember? Jeb in Florida? Anyone remember this? That was all good when we were doing it. They didn't have to use violence, though, because the neoliberals, because of Al Gore. They didn't even need violence, just plenty of lies. Keep himself in power after the voters had rejected him. He is a coward. A real man wouldn't lie to his supporters. Remember who's saying that? Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney. A real man wouldn't lie to his supporters, says Dick Cheney, the vice president of the George W. Bush administration. I mean, come on. I bet he said it with a straight face too, Lenny. He lost his election, and he lost big. I know it. Yeah, you do know. You do know what that looks like, don't you, buddy? I should know. He knows it, and deep down, I think most Republicans know. Oh, well, guys, one of the most horrible people on planet Earth feels so sorry about what they did to us. Oh.
Right now, a federal.
Once again, another example of emotion-based policy making by extremists who they don't have any real. They're nihilists. They don't have any real ideology. It's about power and having power and whatever I need to say to whatever group whatever disgusting group that wants to vote for me. As long as they're stupid and uninformed and not actually going to follow up on what I'm going to do to them, as long as they're willing to vote against their own self-interest, I'll say and do whatever disgusting anti-human thing I need to do. Oh, you're a woman who wants rights? Get the fuck out of here. You're a brown person who wants emancipation? Oh, get the fuck out of here. Oh, you're worried about gun anarchy? Oh, there was a shooting in Uvalde? Get the fuck out of here. There's no low. There's no end. There's no bottom. If you are a disgusting base of people that are willing to vote for me, I will prostrate myself. Blues Brother, there's no such thing as a liberal Republican, so I'm not sure what you're talking about. If you're talking about the attempt to recontextualize George Bush as somehow better than what we thought. Yeah, that attempt does exist. It has failed, in my opinion. It has failed. I don't care how many interviews you do with Ellen. I think the attempt to it succeeded only mildly. It succeeded only mildly. This attempt to recontextualize the George Bush administration. I would say that has been far more successful. Borderline feline bringing up Ronald Reagan. Yeah, that has been far more successful. Yeah. I mean, the neoliberal Democrats are proud to say that they agree with Reagan and that they're the party of Reagan. So yeah, it's his recontextualization, his place in history has been completely reformatted. When you've lost Satan support. So okay, once again, back to another example. We're almost done. We're almost done for today. If you're getting tired, but this is just another example of political pandering to an extremist element that is, like I said, as long as they're willing to vote against their own self-interests, they will be catered to because they're convenient. But once again, I need to point out that once democracy has been axed, does Greg Abbott need these people? These voters, right? These extremists? He's not going to need them, right? Because he's just, as long as you're buddies with Trump, as long as you're S-ing the right D's, and you're playing the game correctly, you get to stay in your positions of power. That's how an authoritarian dictatorship works. Look at Russia. Okay, you don't get into higher positions of power because you're really good at making an efficient railway system. Okay, that's not how you become transportation secretary in a Russian government. Well, it's going to be the same thing in the United States. You're not going to be in a position of power, you're not going to keep your position of power once the transition is made, unless you're a sycophant. But, as long as you're a sycophant, do whatever the fuck you want. Who's going to stop you? As long as you keep Trump happy, you can do whatever the fuck you want to your constituents. You no longer need their votes. You no longer need their votes. You have cops to punish them whenever they disagree. You're pulling money directly out of their paychecks. They have no choice, no recourse, no ability to fight back. You don't need them anymore. So, it's interesting to me because illegal immigration heavily benefits the oligarchy, heavily benefits the rich. So it's just like with the religious right, just with hedonism, just like with the religious evangelicals who are going to be shocked at age requirements for marriage getting lowered and pedophilia being accepted more and more normalized, right? Degeneracy and alcohol and drugs, because that makes money, that makes people desperate. We're going to see it with migrants and immigrants as well. Oh, what, are we going to just say no to a bunch of cheap labor? No, that's the exact kind of exploitation that right-wing authoritarians love. Fueling for funds. Am I making money? Is there money? No one told me there's money involved. There's money involved? Oh my God, am I milking rage for money, guys? Oh shit. I'm fucking this up. There is a critical element that I think I'm missing to this formula if I'm rage farming for money. There's a critical part. There's a second part of this that I don't think I'm doing a lot of rage farming. I'm not making any money off this, dude. I'm fucking this up, dude. All right, but let me just want to show you here. Like I said, emotional extremist policy. This is what it looks like, and you bet it's going to be cranked up to 11 once the restrictions are lifted.
Right now, a federal appeals court is hearing arguments over whether to allow Texas to enforce a controversial new immigration law or keep it on hold.
Yeah,
the law would.
So it's so extreme. Even the Texas government is like, I don't know, man.
State and local police to arrest anyone suspected of being in Texas illegally and would allow state judges to deport them. The legal wrangling comes as law enforcement agencies across the state have been trying to figure out how to enforce the law. With us now is Sheriff Javier Salazar of Bexar County, Texas, which includes San Antonio. Sheriff, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for being with us. Have you gotten any guidance on how to enforce the law should it become law by state officials?
No guidance at all, sir. What we're doing is like other law enforcement agencies. For some time now, we've been re-examining our own policies in hopes of staying ahead of it. Now with us, thankfully, we've got procedures in place. We've already got a policy should this law come to pass. Yesterday, for a short time, it did come into effect before it got blocked again. So we were able to put our policy out, but now, of course, it's put on hold as the state of Texas tries to get its act together.
So what are your concerns about this law?
Well, my concerns are several. First off, I just, while I can't speak for the whole state of Texas, all 254 counties, what I can tell you is that the realities in my county are that this law doesn't really affect us much. That population, the undocumented population, does exist here. But here in Bexar County, they're far more likely to become victims of a crime than perpetrators of a crime. And so for us, we don't want to run the risk of all these people that haven't officially being victims now being more afraid of me, law enforcement, than they are the people that are actually making them victims of a crime. So for us, it puts a fear into them that they should not have. Another thing that
so he's talking about, there's a phenomenon in immigrant communities where if you make it impossible for them to call the cops, like if it's a guarantee that you're going to be deported every time you call the cops, well, go figure, crimes will happen in those areas and nothing will be reported, and it makes the cops' job much harder to have a safe society when there's no incentive to get the cops involved at all.
That it has for us is that here it's really the way the law is written. It's written more that the deputy or the officer in this instance has to physically observe the person crossing the border in order for this law to come into effect. That's hard for us since we're so far inland. And so my fear is that it may give officers or deputies, in my case, it may make them think they have more authority than what they actually do, which brings with it its fair share of liabilities that we have to let our first responders know about.
Oh, yeah.
And so what specifically are you...
You can abuse people this way, but you can't abuse people this way or else we might get sued right now. So we're working on changing that law so we can just abuse people without having to get sued. But right now, we got to be careful.
You telling your officers about how to enforce this if indeed it comes into play?
Well, first off, we're reminding them that it's a misdemeanor charge. So we don't want to spend a whole lot of time going after something that's a misdemeanor. Obviously, our number one priority is violent crime because that's what we're seeing an issue with on our streets. Again, most of those violent crimes being perpetrated by U.S. citizens, not the undocumented community.
No, that's not what I heard on literally every right-wing news organization in the United States, 24/7, 7 days a week. Violent, rape obsessed, drug addicted, who literally get sexual pleasure from selling drugs to your children are the only people crossing the border. Okay? They hate America. They want to destroy Lady Liberty, and to top it all off, their entire goal is racist because they want to replace me, the white person, the safe white person. They want to replace me. In my own country, in my own Christian country, exclusively Christian country. Can you believe that? There's a great replacement, and me, the alpha male, is going to be. Can you believe it? We're number one, and we're going to be replaced by like poor people. Oh my God!
So we're concentrating our efforts on violent crime, but with that being said, we're also letting our deputies know that this new law is also filled with pitfalls. There's still a thing called racial profiling that is illegal.
Right. Racism doesn't even exist. Anytime you hear the words racial profiling, it's just the woke left winning. They win every time we acknowledge the existence of racism. The left wins.
Not to mention the fact that the federal crime or the federal statutes somewhat limit our abilities as local.
Look at that. Look at how much fentanyl this kid is carrying. Are you kidding me? I can't believe that in Joe Biden's America, this kid could just carry handfuls of fentanyl out in the open, right? Like, and I bet you when he gets older, he's gonna get randy at the thought of selling drugs to a kid that looks just like him right now. These are real concerns. Look at that. That's a bottle of fentanyl right there. She's addicted. Liquid fentanyl. Look at that. You can tell because it's liquid. Sloshing around in there. She's a junkie.
Local law enforcement to enforce strictly immigration laws. And so we're letting people know that this law...
wait a minute. Is this Hamas? There's Hamas members in there too, isn't there? Yep, I know it. Yeah, in Joe Biden's America.
Is not as simple as it may be made to be by those that really want to see it pass.
Sheriff, is there something you would like?
No, I mean there is a I don't know about crisis, but there is a legitimate issue on the border where it's not how you should be doing immigration. I would change it, but I wouldn't change it in the way that the neoliberals and the right wing want to do it, which is basically in unison. Joe Biden basically totally agrees with the Heritage Fund, totally agrees with some of the most hardline right wingers, offered up their juiciest policy proposals on a silver platter, and pretended like it was supposed to be a victory. Of course, the right-wing extremists, it was, not enough for them because they couldn't shoot them on sight, as Ron DeSantis, who was running for president, was saying that he wanted to do. That's right. Ron DeSantis said he wanted to shoot these people on sight, and he was cheered for it.
Like to tell the federal government, President Biden, and others in Washington, D.C.
So, yeah, according to Ron DeSantis, he would be okay with just opening fire on these people right here and just wasting them.
About the reality
and he was
that you and your community face every single day.
Absolutely. I mean, look, I've been writing letters to the president for the past several years now. I've been quite vocal with respect to that. Not in a necessarily a critical way, but just letting them know that we want them to come to Texas and get an eye on things. A few weeks ago, I was pleased to see that President Biden and Secretary Mayorkas actually came down and were on the border. I was invited to that, but didn't get to make it out because we were in the middle of an election. But with that being said, I just want them to keep an eye on the situation here in Texas as they've done to this point.
Wait a minute. Is he admitting that if he went to, it might have hurt his election if he went and spoke to the president about these issues? Isn't that hilarious? Oh, I couldn't have been seen. I couldn't have been seen with the president. I would have lost my election. All the right wingers who want me to dominate them. Isn't it funny? These right wingers that vote these guys in here. Oh yeah, I want you to be an authoritarian. Yeah.
Point and do more on the part of the federal government. The legislation that was shot down on the political pandering was a good start. So I'd like the president to continue to stay on that. He's got.
So he was just talking about the super right-wing legislation that Joe Biden administration proposed, and was shot down by his party. By the way, by the people that he probably votes for and supports.
My full support. I voiced my.
Isn't it crazy when cops, support gun anarchy? Yes, I want the public to have access to armor-piercing bullets. I want the public to have access to incredible weapons of war that they will 100% use against me if I try to do my job.
Full support of that legislation. I'd like to see something come out that obviously.
So more guns and more authoritarianism. Yeah, I mean that's often what you see from the cops. But anyway, you see here there's conflict there. He's he's got to play politics. It's so interesting. He's got to skirt this line of disagreeing with, because he definitely wanted that legislation. He definitely wanted that immigration legislation because it basically criminalizes all the immigrants. It would allow him, all these people. So if you don't know what's going on, all you have to do is, no problem, Blues Brothers. Thanks for coming by. This is very tiring. So as you can see here, we have the border right here, and then this is the official border. All you need to do as one of these immigrants is basically cross this threshold, then you start the asylum seeking process. And if you say the right things and they're coached to say the right things, then you can come into the United States while your asylum request is being processed. And he wants the ability to just arrest these people on site and kick them right across the border. I don't agree with that either. But I don't think it's very sustainable to have this incredible loophole that people are taking advantage of. That doesn't seem very smart either. But yeah, right now it's very unsustainable, and he has to skirt the line of basically supporting Joe Biden. But being a sheriff is an elected official. It's a job that you get elected to do it. So he has his own. Politics to worry about. So he has to support Joe Biden without supporting Joe Biden. Oh, these guys twist themselves into knots. So once again, you know, just like I said, just more examples. I just find these examples. I just more proof that these authoritarian right-wingers absolutely want to remove liberty, especially if you're a woman. Over there in Florida, old enough to be forced to give birth, not old enough to join Twitter. Judges denied a 14-year-old's request for an abortion twice. So this person is actually talking about the TikTok ban that Ron DeSantis instituted for 14-year-olds. And I kind of agree with it, actually. I don't think young people should be allowed unfettered access to social media. That we might be onto something, and I have proof of that as well. I think tomorrow or the next day we're going to be covering world news. And I have this really amazing video from, I think, the BBC talking about this. Welcome back, Ice King. Maybe it's in my U.S. section here. But there is a legitimate... Oh, yeah, here it is. So it's from DW News. Should under 14s be banned from Facebook? So they have this really great interview with this woman who's really awesome, by the way. She's I can't wait to show you this video because she's really something else. But she talks about, no, there's legitimate health concerns. It's so new. It's so new that, you know... there's a lot of unknowns that we're now, you know, starting to understand better. She makes the argument that, you know, we age gate a lot of other things, you know, cigarettes and alcohol and other damaging things for children. You know, we take away their liberty and their rights because of the fact that they're children. So we age gate as a society already so many dangerous things. Why are we ignoring social media? So like I said, I don't necessarily disagree. Sorry. What did I do?
He's never been a criminal attorney. He's never conducted.
Here we go. So I kind of agree with that, but I think this is a fair comparison to say, okay, Republicans, Ron DeSantis, perfectly okay with age gating social media. No problem, Lenny. Perfectly okay with age gating social media. No problem imposing limitations on young people for all kinds of things. But not for abortion though. A 14-year-old has to have a baby. If you successfully rape a 14-year-old, she should be forced to have a kid. Which, you know, there's probably rapists who get off on that. Could you imagine a serial rapist, you know, deriving sexual pleasure from not only raping a girl but then forcing her to go through the entire process and having his child? You don't think there's a lot of sickos out there that are gonna that literally get hard at the thought of forcing a 14-year-old girl to have his rape baby? Then you're I'm kind of jealous that you're not aware of the sick elements of society and how the right-wing law coming right in to their rescue. These sick people. Telling 14-year-old girls to have the rape babies. 13-year-old was the last one we showed. 13, 14. Children, teenagers, adolescents. Should be worried about going to a Justin Bieber concert. Not, oh, now I gotta buy onesies for my newborn. Thanks, Ron DeSantis, who has no problem age gating. No, I stand up against I want to protect kids. I want to protect kids unless you were successfully raped and you're underage. Then fuck you. Fuck you. Oh, I care so much about the kids. That's why I'm banning social media. Well, unless you were raped. I mean, come on. You should have to go through a traumatic childbirth, especially if you're a kid. I mean, come on. There's limits to my mercy. And you know what the really disgusting thing is he doesn't even believe it. He doesn't believe in God. He doesn't believe in the book. Like I said before, it's a tool. It's a tool he's using for cynical politics. Doesn't even believe it. Doesn't even fucking really care. Doesn't even really care. But it gets him votes. Forcing your raped 14-year-old daughter to have a baby gets him votes in this sick system. So fuck it. I don't care. I'll be the shameless one. If I'm not the shameless one that does it, then someone else is going to be shameless enough to do it. So why not it be me? I already lost my humanity in Abu Ghraib when I was a torturer for the United States. Look it up. Ron DeSantis, torturer in Abu Ghraib. So he doesn't even believe it, dude. Putting this 14-year-old girl through this shit, doesn't even believe it. That's Two in My City from Ghost Town. Okay. I have nothing really to say to this except this is apparently hard to believe. This is apparently not a wax figure. I thought 100% they were like at Madame Tussauds. I really don't have anything. I probably just need to go because we're talking about, you know, a woman's appearance here. But I legitimately thought the Patriot is Kimberly okay. I legitimately thought this woman was like a Madame Tussauds wax figure. Apparently not. She's alive. She's alive. Someone give her a poke. Someone poke her with a stick. Make sure she's still breathing. Dear God. Not going to talk about it. Just not going to talk about it. Moving on. Did you guys know Republicans are hypocrites? And, you know, this is the third example I have so far for you of Republicans making legislation, you know, knee-jerk reaction based off emotion, extremists, you know, trying to please one side so they fuck over everyone else. Well, porn sites are being banned in Texas because, you know, whoa, you know, religion. Oh, Abbott knows better. Abbott knows better, okay? So Texans, of course, the super religious and pious population of Texas immediately searching for alternatives to find the disgusting pornography that they're all watching. Because we're a bunch of gross motherfuckers, aren't we? Texas don't deserve to jack off. First they came for the porno, and I said nothing. But, you know, I won't belabor it. We've been doing this for hours. But they're hypocrites. They, you know, once again, we shouldn't trust them with governance. That's what I'm trying to get at, is that we can't trust these people to govern our lives. They're not basing their conclusions off of, you know, fact or even common sense. Even they're not even basing conclusions off their own ideology. Their supposed ideologies. Is it really a very you know, godly thing to, you know, give everyone unfettered access to deadly weapons that they can slaughter each other with? Is that really a religious, you know, is that something that God would really want? You know what I mean? It runs counter to what they claim to actually believe in. All right. These can be whatever. I'm not forcing you to watch this today. We've already done too much. We've already done too much. We'll get to this one next time. Would you believe it's just more examples of the right wing, you know, injecting partisan, corrupt judges and other officials so that they can, you know, pass incredibly biased and you know, political legislation, set all kinds of, you know, precedents in court, yada yada. You know what I'm talking about. And it doesn't matter, right? I just spent, you know, 2.5 hours, you know, showing you example after example after example of how the right wing are absolutely intending on stealing our liberty, on taking our liberty, and there's an inevitability to this that I can't shake. Right? It's like there's enough of us that just kind of want to see what's going to happen. Right? I can't shake this overwhelming feeling of this This kind of has to happen. This challenge to our democracy. You know, kind of like how the Civil War seemed like it kind of had to happen. That, you know, there was just a disagreement too deep. And one side had to, you know, both sides had to spill blood and one side has to lose. But it's not going to be like the Civil War, man. It's going to be way messier. People don't know what they believe. People don't know what's up or down. They don't know what's real. How do you fight and die for something that you're not even quite sure what all the facts are, where you stand? I mean, it happens every day, but it just seems like it's going to be messier somehow. But there's an inevitability to this right-wing authoritarian takeover that just can't seem to shake. Seems like people need to have their noses rubbed into it. They have to really experience losing liberty before they realize the value. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being, catastrophic? No, there's a term for it. I'm not quite sure. It looks like most people have left. Anyway, thank you everybody for coming. Ice King of Space, Borderline Feline. Yeah, kind of Ice King. Yeah. Blues Brothers, thank you for stopping in. Davey, appreciate it. Woke Patriot, Zeo Duke, Estonian. Probably shouldn't have spent so much time. God, I spent almost 3 hours on the right wing. Maybe I should cut that in half. Thank you, Father Dari, for coming back. Lenny, big props. Kissing Gonzo. Chem Goblin, I don't know if you were here today, but thank you all the same. Word 'em up. Dakota Killas. Thank you, big props. Strar Mike. I think you only said one thing, but you seem all right. The Big Room. Thank you, The Big Room. Do appreciate it. Student Debt. I think I bored everybody to tears. Everyone's gone. Clutch Cargo. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East. Thank you. Lee Spanner. OG Lee. OG Lee in that motherfucker. ROB in this motherfucker. All right. In the future, I will try to pare it down. I have so much news, though. I have so much I want to cover, but in the future, I'll try to make this more digestible and less of a marathon. All right. Thank you, everybody. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East. Glory to the Ukrainian democracy. Let's not forget my 3-step program. Hey, thank you, Smash. Big props to you, Smash. Thank you. It's News Underground. It's boring. Top newsing. My show sucks. It's boring. Thanks for watching it anyway. Peace in that Middle East, y'all. Lurkers rule the world. You guys rule. Thank you, Lurkers. Bye, Lenny. Have a good one. Oh, and I'm rated. Dude, why are you rating me right at the end of my stream, dog? I'm literally trying to leave. I'm literally trying to leave and I get rated. Well, thank you so much, the horse. I love the horseradish, by the way. Make sure you're if anyone in here is not subscribed to the horseradish, make sure you check them out. Politics streamer, right? Now you're obligated to raid out. No, I'm not doing. I don't do raids. I don't feel comfortable forcing people to watch other people's content. Yes, you got to stay. It's etiquette. It's etiquette. Literally just did 3 hours on the right-wing takeover of the United States. I don't think anyone can take another second of it. 3 hours of right-wing assholes. There's no forcing involved. Yes, it is. Forces people to go to another channel. I don't like it. Thank you, Horseradish, for rating me with your 7 viewers. I'm glad to see that you're successful. Summarize it all in 5 seconds. Yeah, no problem. Here you go. Here you go. Perfectly articulate summary right there of what we just covered. I read the Project 2024 for a stream. Yeah, I mean, that's, that we didn't bring it up today, but the Heritage Fund Project 2025 is a big deal. We're more like 100 viewers in our heads. Hey, you know what? The number one most valuable thing you can do for streamers that you like is give them that view. It's easily the most valuable thing people give to me is that view. So I do appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. If you're watching the news, you're watching the News Underground, you're watching the Horseradish, you're watching Lenny, you're watching Clutch Cargo, right? You're seeking out that real information. You're talking about the elephants in the room, right? You're having those uncomfortable conversations. You have the balls to have those uncomfortable conversations. Witness me. Spray a bunch of chrome spray paint in my mouth. I wonder how they actually did that in the movie. It's got to be like some kind of food-based thing, because that would be really cool to do. Freak people out, like, oh my God, you just sprayed spray paint in your mouth. It'd freak people out. All right, but I was actually leaving, folks. I'm very sorry to the people that were forced to come in here. Do you think they'll do butt stuff to Trump? No, student, no. Not only do I vociferously disagree with the U.S. prison system being a rape factory for men, I disagree with that, and very substantially disagree with it. But secondly, if Trump were to be arrested, and that's a big but, sorry to use the pun, that's a big but, he would be sent to Club Fed, the rich guy prison, basically. That's where he would go. Forced at gunpoint to join the raid. Thank you for following Arctic Mule and all aboard the fail train. Welcome to the News Underground. Disagree that it's true or that it's right. I agree that it's real, and I disagree that it's morally right. If that helps you see a Duke. I like big butts. I cannot lie. You would be sent to the White House? What are we talking about? All right, everybody. Hey, now that I got a couple extra viewers, let me just remind you of what the 3-step process is to create political change. If you actually want to create political change, it's just as easy as 1, 2, 3. It's actually not that hard at all. Step 1, inform yourself. You're already doing it. Congratulations. Step 1 achieved. Good job. Step 2, join a progressive political organization, maybe a union, maybe it's a politician that you like. Put your name down. Volunteer, put your name down. Step 3, put in the work. And I'm not joking. Ask yourself once a month, once a week, what am I doing for the political causes that I believe in? What am I doing for the political movement that I want to be part of? You don't have to change the whole world. Okay? Just donate a couple hours a week, a couple hours a month to your, political movement of choice, whatever that is. Thank you, Ponder Monkey. Big props all aboard the fail train, the Ponder Monkey, Zio Duke. Do I give all my money to a shady cult? That's step 2.5, and that's what you want to do is you want to follow. Here's where you're going to want to deposit your money into my merch store. Make sure you buy 100 cheaply made t-shirts. I will get exactly $100 in profit if you buy 100 t-shirts. That's what you need to do with your money. Your money is poison. It's making your life worse. And the only way to cleanse you of the curse of money is to buy my t-shirts. All good cults have a merch store. There you go. There you go. Make sure you buy that Garbage Fuel merch. Garbage Fuel, the #1 drink mix company in the world. Garbage Fuel, made from 100% garbage juice from your local dumpster, locally sourced. Garbage Fuel. Buy it today. Drink it. You are not allowed to sue me for mercury poisoning. Period. Make sure you enjoy your merch. Have a good day, everybody. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East. Glory to the Ukrainian democracy. Bye. Woo. Join the cult. Drink the liquid from a dumpster. Yeah. Download your free Chex Quest CD.